for some animal.
I think it's time to blow this thing. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
It's ready.
I'm just about finished. What's cooking?
Special bell peppers and beef. Asimov Solons. He's our next target.
Listen, Jet.
This guy's a major player in the syndicate. Operates all around the asteroids.
You said bell peppers and beef.
His name's Asimov Solons. Are you listening to me?
There's no beef in here. So you wouldn't really call it bell peppers and beef, now would you?
Yes, I would.
Well, it's not!
It is when you're broke, all right?
What happened to the $1,000,000 Wulong reward we got for that last guy?
The repair bill for that cruiser you wrecked, and the one from that shop you trashed, and the medical bill from the cop you injured. Kill the dough! Now, 3 days ago, there was a big shootout between his group and a rival syndicate. He killed his own guys, then took off like the wind. Word is he's hiding out with some sweet thing in Tijuana.
TJ, that place is for small fries.
Yeah, well, this small fry is worth $2.5 million.
I don't feel like it.
Speaking of beef, they say in TJ, the carnitas are out of this world.
Attention please. You will be arriving at a destination shortly. Please prepare for departure. We will hold a center for you. Please line up. Vehicle apartments for the vehicle having yellow lights. Caution is advised at all times. In the days when credibility took its toll, with a small distributors who had a pleasant life.
Ideas occur at a rate of speed unprecedented in human need,
I'll
just
head
a little
over
bit
there after
lifted
I
and
hit
a
up the
little
top for
serene,
some clues.
All right.
sitting on the
Then I'll
perch to
check in
survey
with
the
old man
scene.
Bull.
Trusted counsel
Think you
beside
can trust
me,
that old
springtime
codger?
weather before.
I'm just too really.
No need to know fully what all is in store. Rays of sunlight reflected intermingle with blue, and I'm trapped in a vortex of thoughts about you. Debts are noted in record. I repay as I can. It's the way that I follow, but don't understand. Mine demanding a reason, but nothing is given, except the scent in the air and the sound of the rhythm.
I busted my tail to dig that gate. For criminy sakes, you always say the same thing when you're losing. We all dug that gate together, and you know it. That we did. We worked like there was no tomorrow. And what do we got to show for it? Give me a beer.
And I will have a Bloody Mary. Let me get a double.
I've got the vodka, but I'm afraid I'm fresh out of tomato juice.
I'm sure there's one can in the back room.
I'll check.
Premium Red Eye. You're a buyer. You know the score. Check it out.
Is that real bloody eye? I'm gonna need a little proof. Let's have a demonstration.
Yeah, keep those eyes open. This is real mystic and all, but do you have anything to eat here? I see.
The red-eyed coyote will appear in the Zona Norte at the far end of town. That is what I see.
A red-eyed coyote north of town.
You, swimming bird.
Huh?
The swimming bird will meet a woman.
The bird will be hunted by this woman, and then death. One more time. What's that? I was killed once before by a woman. You take women too lightly, my friend. On the contrary. Catch you later. Wakantanga guide his spirit.
Presidente, eh? Think I'll have some on the house. Hmm?
Damn. Just look at this. Asimov went berserk.
No joke. We gotta take care of him before the cops move in.
Maybe we should just let the cops deal with him. As long as he's using that red eye on himself. You can't beat him.
We got to. If we don't get that bloody eye back, trust me, we'll all be twisted in the wind.
Maybe so, huh?
You. Tell me some more.
I am starving. So you're hungry too, huh, baby? You know, it's better to just leave the water running. So you don't clog the drain.
Sorry. Thank you. Excuse me.
It's your hot dog.
Yeah, I can see that. Just keep it.
Sorry. My stomach just took over my brain. It does that sometimes.
Really? Nice ship.
Yeah, it's a blast from the past. I've had it for 10 years.
It looks like it's been around.
Guess you could say we've done some traveling. I'm actually a traveling performer.
I can tell when you're joking and when you're not.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Ever been to Mars?
I was born on Mars.
I hear they have everything there. Not like here. There's parks and festivals and the people are happy there. It must be a great place to live.
Sure, if you're rich.
Then I'm sure we will be quite happy.
Planning to escape to Mars, huh? Go ahead and run. How far do you think you'll get?
Who are you?
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
You're a bounty hunter,
Yeah, that's right.
and you're after us.
Your boyfriend is sick. He's a small fry. I don't bother with his type.
A wise decision.
Who's the small fry?
Asimov, that's enough. Let him go. Adios, cowboy.
have been dead in another minute. I wanted to see him die.
Asimov, please, this has to stop.
I think you liked him, didn't you?
You left me there for so long, Asimov. I was just waiting for you to pick me up. Let's go, Asimov, like you promised. I want to get out of this life. I know that I can be happy on Mars.
Having ourselves a little nap, huh?
I had a sweet dream.
That's heartwarming. And you can go right ahead and finish your dream back on the bebop. I'm cashing in my chips on this one. It's impossible to catch the guy. There's no way to win it. When Asimov left his syndicate, he snuck some stuff out with him. Serious brew. This stuff's a total mine frag. It's a new kind of eye spray the syndicate cooked up. Very pure. Takes 2 months to make one vial. Our boy took off with every drop, which made him rather unpopular. They keep sending hit teams after him, but all they get back are corpses. Seems Asimov's been pumping up by doing the stuff himself. It's called Bloody Eye.
No kid, you know they're planning to go to Mars.
Mars?
But before that, they've got to sell these.
Is that what I think it is?
Yeah, I grabbed it out of his pocket.
You met it?
Yeah, so to speak.
He nailed you, huh?
The red-eyed coyote will appear in the Zona Norte at the far end of town.
This again? Goddamn son of a bitch. Taking my money like that, you cheating dogs. Why, the only reason you can even eat here is because of what I done. I busted my tail to plant those crops along with my 2 good buddies.
We're the buddies you're talking about. Yes, sir, that we are. We planted those seeds like there was no tomorrow. You were always planting seeds of a different kind, though.
Huh?
So do you have any Bloody Marys? I only have beer. I got tomato juice. How much? 30 million oolongs. For 50 packs. 15 million oolongs. I'm in a hurry. I've got other customers. Show me. Looking for this? Do you know how much you're worth? What? 2.5 million oolongs. That's your bounty. I said you were a small fry. You look surprised. You look ridiculous in that outfit. I thought you weren't after my bounty. There's no thrill in the cheap ones, Asimov, you know? I think you do better as a thief, bounty boy. Now hand it over. Glad to. I have to pay you back, don't I? You trust your eyes too much, Asimov. You're not a chameleon, you know. You can't see everywhere at once.
Don't move! I don't want to hurt you!
Idiot! We lose these things, we're fragged. Do you understand?
How you doing, kid?
Rotten! You're late, Jet! Huh? Damn!
What's it doing? Oh no, the door's here.
Stop it, please! That stuff is going to kill you! No! We'll never get out of here now. I'll never see Mars. Adios.
He's fighting, but not running.
Wanna fight? You're crazy.
All the wealth of men was mine to squander. Towers of iron rose beneath my feet. Palaces, pleasure mine to want. Something leave me incomplete. Oh, every soul hold my name upon. Truest love is always by my side. Praise the song, grateful sons and daughters. My soul will never still be satisfied. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough. It's not enough. Oh, I could live for all to live then why? Spend the century seeking light within. Why indulge my every dark desire? Exhausting every avenue of sin. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could right all wrongs or ravage everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough to make me whole. It's not enough. Never was. To wake my soul. It's not enough. Never was. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could right all wrongs and ravage everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough. No one would bow to me till I could drink my fill of beer and love. It's not enough.
Hey, what's your
It's
problem?
not
Wanna
enough.
fight or something? It's my treat.
Though all the wealth of men is mine to squander, towers of ivory rose beneath my feet. Palaces of pleasure mine to wander. The simplest sum of it would leave me incomplete. Oh, every soul would hold my name on. The truest love is always by my side. Praise the song of grateful sons and daughters. My soul will never still be satisfied. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could right all wrongs and ravage everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough to make me whole. Oh, there we go. It's not enough. Never was. Wake my soul. It's not enough. It never was. It's not enough.
Try a store called Animal Treasure.
It's not enough.
Cyber Mall. Pretty sure you'll find
Could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could right all wrongs or ravage everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough. What would bow to me? What would bow to me till I could drink my fill of fear and love? It's not
Now,
enough.
both of you stop this funny business. My babies are very sensitive, please.
It's not enough.
Why me? This is a misunderstanding.
do it.
Though all the wealth of men was mine to squander,
All right, I will.
and towers of ivory rose beneath my feet. Were palaces of pleasure mine to wander. The sum of it would leave me
Oh, well,
incomplete.
good. They're very sweet, but you see them everywhere.
Oh, every soul, hold my name in arms.
You could sell it for about
And truest love is always by my side.
If you don't like it, take it.
Praise the song, the grateful sons and daughters. My soul would never still be satisfied. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough.
Oh, no.
It's not enough. I could write a wrongs around everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could.
What the hell's going on around here?
It's not enough. It's not enough. All about me till I can drink my feeling. It's not enough. It's not enough. Oh, all the wealth of men's mind is squandered. And towers of life rose beneath my feet. Palaces of pleasure mine to wander. Some of it would leave me incomplete. Oh, every soul hold my name in arms. And truest love is always by my side. Praise the song, grateful songs and daughters. My soul would never still be satisfied. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could right all wrongs and ravish everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough. I need to listen to it again. Right.
Here you go. A nice little collar, all right. Got a dog instead of a dog, huh? Yeah, right.
Sunning 8K resolution, meditation app. Honor of the revolution, tap off at the gap. Dead to self-awareness, loving parents, harmless fun. Backlash to the backlash to the thing that's just begun. There it is again, that funny feeling, that funny feeling. There it is again, that funny feeling, that funny feeling. There we go. Surgeon Jim's pop-up shop, Robert Iger's face, discount Etsy agitprop, the Bugles take on race, female Colonel Sanders, easy answer, Civil War. Whole world at your fingertips, the ocean at your door. There it is again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling. There it is again, that funny feeling.
Why? Hey, wait a minute.
That funny feeling. Surgeon General's pop-up shop, Robert Agger's face, and bang up the trip. No, Robert Agger's face. Discount Etsy agent, bugles take on race. Female Colonel Sanders, easy answer, Civil War. The whole world at your fingertips, the ocean at your door. The live action Lion King. Pepsi halftime show. 20,000 years of this, 7 more to go. Carpool karaoke, Steve Aoki, Logan Paul. A gift shop at the gun, a mass shooting at the mall. There it is again, that funny feeling.
Is it on? I can't hear it.
That funny feeling, and there it is again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling.
Moving card. What you're looking for is about to move.
What's the matter? Something to steady my baby.
Ah! Hey, wait! Come back! Jeff, he got away!
Huh? You mean Akeem?
The dog! It's close. It's very close. What you're looking for is drawing near. In fact, it is here. It is right here.
I'll pay you when I'm rich.
Not again. What the hell? Has every dog gone crazy or what? Are you happy, dear?
Everything's perfect.
Excuse me? What the devil do you think you're doing? Hakeem! Damn it!
Time for a dog nap.
Hakeem!
Right. He's headed for the causeway.
Trying to outrun me, huh?
Reading Pornhub's terms of service, going for a drive, and obeying all the traffic laws. Grand Theft Auto 5, full of agoraphobia, losing folk, covered low. Book on getting better, and delivered by a drone.
Payback time, Hakeem.
There it is again, that funny feeling.
Hey, back off! This food's better
That
than mine!
funny feeling. And there it is again, that funny feeling.
What the? Get him!
Funny feeling.
Oh,
Hey, what can you say? We were overdue. Well, it'll be over soon. Reading Pornhub's terms of service, going for a drive, and obeying all the traffic laws in Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto karaoke, Steve Aoki, Logan Paul. No. Reading Pornhub's terms of service, going for a drive, and obeying all the traffic laws in Grand Theft Auto 5. Full agoraphobic, losing focus, cover blown. A book on getting better, hand delivered by a drone.
He sure did. Before his crime spree came to a crashing halt, he stole a mysterious data dog, which was developed in an illegal research lab.
Whoa, what is a data dog?
If I told you that, I'd have to kill you. No, seriously, that information is classified. Though we do know it is a very canny canine. Collectors will pay a fortune for it.
Wow, fancy that! A genius hound dog. I'd like to own a dog like that.
I'm afraid this one disappeared without a trace.
Another mystery. Where did it go?
No one knows, but shucks, howdy. It's time for a commercial. I tell you, you keep mopping, and when you're done, feed the Komodo dragons. Watch your fingers. I am going to work your butt off.
Hey,
Get down. No dogs on the table. That's cold.
oh,
That's why I said I didn't want any stray mongrel mutts in here.
but you're the one who brought him here. Anyway, we've got to do something about the tick.
Now, let's just
Reading Pornhub's terms of service, going for a drive, and obeying all the traffic laws in Grand Theft Auto 5. Full of agoraphobic loot. Focus cover blown. Book on getting better, hand delivered by a drone. Damn it, I don't want to look it up. It's gonna bug me though.
I like those shades, man.
I like everything you got. Looking to make some big bucks? I think you'd fit right in here.
You know the first rule of combat?
Huh?
Shoot them before they shoot you. Quite an elaborate way to get acquainted.
What a weirdly wired woman.
I had no idea the legendary Lady Luck was still alive. Poker Alice, Queen of Hearts. They tell tales about you on every asteroid from here to TJ.
If Alice was still alive, she'd be over 200 years old.
That's true. Considering you're looking pretty good. Hottest granny in the star system. Poker Alice never lost a game, and she never cheated. She was just a born winner.
Maybe that's just part of the legend.
I understand you've accrued quite a large debt. Would you rather deal with the Galactic Police or me, Miss Queen of Hearts?
Prophecy.
So Charlie says, only hands
Reading
can wash
Pornhub's
hands.
terms of service,
If you want to
going for a
receive,
drive,
get
and
it again.
obeying all the
Something
traffic
like that.
laws in Grand Theft
I wish I
Auto
could remember
5.
the exact words.
Full of
Anyway, I
agoraphobic,
think Charlie's
losing
telling us to
focus,
just do
cover
it.
blown.
Ah,
A book on
What do you
getting
make of it?
better, hand
Somehow I
delivered
don't
by
think Charlie
drone.
Parker'd be quoting Goethe.
come on. It's just a dream I had. Lighten up.
I have a feeling that dream's gonna suck up our last 5,000 woolongs.
Quiet
I'm really sorry to
comprehending
mention
of the
this.
ending of it all.
No smoking in here.
Steve Aoki.
You better not play. Drive too sharp. He'll kick us out if you wait too much.
Thanks, Mom. But if you didn't want me to win, you brought me here. Bye, Judge.
Though all would bow to me till I could drink my fill of fear and love, it's not enough. Though all the wealth of men was mine to squander, and towers of life rose beneath my feet, palaces of pleasure mine to wander, some of it would leave me incomplete. Oh, every soul hold my name on.
What's that? My
And
hand and all those ugly debts of yours will disappear.
truest love was always by my side. I praise the sun for grateful sons and daughters. My soul will never still be satisfied. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Another blessing.
I could right or wrong surround everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough to make me whole. It's not enough. Never was. Away, my soul. It's not enough. Never was. It's not enough. It's not enough. I could walk the world forever till my shoes are filled with blood. It's not enough.
What happened to your generosity? You're messing up the whole plan.
It's not enough.
You're supposed to give me that last chance.
You're pretty brash. You did the whole game and I didn't say a word.
Everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough. No one would bow to me till I drink my fill of fear and love. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Can you come with me to the office, sir? We have some questions. Like what? Bad food. Come on, guys. I like the fitness program here. It's a good workout.
a secret
Okay,
chord
showtime.
that David played and it pleased the Lord. You don't really care for the music. And it goes like this. The non-fa in the major note. Backward King plays a hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Dad,
I told you not to win too much.
that's not it. We gotta split fast. Come on.
I haven't cashed these in yet. Hey.
If you were strong, but you need to. Saw her baby would be kitchen chair, she broke the throne and she cut your hair. And
He doesn't have it. The chip he was
from
carrying.
your lips she drew
Neither you nor your boss were told why we cooked up this plan, but there's a reason, and that chip is crucial.
Hallelujah.
If it falls into police hands,
Hallelujah.
we're finished.
Boss, we still can't find the girl.
Track her down. Put a price on her pretty face.
Maybe I've been here before, seen this room and I've walked this floor. You know I used to live alone before.
Wait, I brought you guys back here. I should get a reward for that. Why are you locking me up?
Cry that you hear at night, and it's not somebody who's seen the light. It's cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
200K is chump change.
Hallelujah.
It's nothing compared to what I lost. It's peanuts, and you're blaming the wrong person.
Right. Your little zip grab shit sell for at least 400K.
You brought this on yourselves. If you'd given me that chip, there'd have been no problem.
Chip.
Yeah, chip. Are you deaf?
Oh, that's disgusting.
Gordon will pay a fortune for that, more than your little brain can imagine. So why don't we call it? What do you say?
I don't know. It's when the story. Find that police story.
Wait a minute.
Come on, Hein, let's go. It's a chip.
Of course it's a chip.
Not the poker chip, dummy. Like that chip. Michael.
Hi, amigos. You ready for some bounty in the world?
Big shot. Cowboys coming your way.
I've been waiting for you. I believe you, of course. Where are you?
An old fishing ship at the gate. And they have the control chip, Gordon. So hurry up and... What do you want?
Well, we were thinking about you and we have a little change of heart. Why lock a fine young lady like you up in a place like this?
You creeps aren't getting any ideas, are you?
On the contrary, we're taking you someplace where they're well protected.
Oh, and where would that be?
The police station. Right, 200K is chump change compared to your price, Lady Valentine.
I don't believe this. Did they put a bounty on me?
6 million fat oolongs.
6 million? Is that all they're offering?
Just how much money do you owe anyway?
Come on. Have a heart. Take me anywhere but the police.
They're the only ones who'll pay your bounty.
I can't be stuck in one place for long. It'll kill me. My whole family's like that.
Yeah, right.
For a moment, for eons, we wandered the stars looking for love. It's our You don't know anything, do you? Romans are gypsies. And you know what we call someone like you a gaucho. That means a bumpkin who doesn't know which way is up.
Gaucho. I like that.
Oh, the wilds are calling me. You can't keep me locked up.
Save it for the police.
Come on, Chet. Let's get out of here.
Oh, fine. Look, I'm not going to run away. At least uncuff one hand. I can't even go to the bathroom this way.
Man, you're a real talker, aren't you? Like my friend, that girl is money in the bank.
No penalty for early withdrawal.
It's just like Charlie said it might be. Want to receive, you have to give. He's right, you gotta listen to your dreams. That's how you find your dream girl.
I'm not sure who you are, and I don't really give a damn. You have my chip, and I want it back.
Well, I'm not sure who you are, and I'm not giving you anything. Are we done now?
It's just a poker chip. It has no value to you. Oh, we've become quite fond of it, and we know what it's worth.
3 years ago, SID developed a master decryption program called Cryptbreaker. Rumor has it that shortly after its completion, the programmer turned up dead, and the program disappeared. A program with advanced artificial intelligence. It can decrypt and unlock virtually any security code, but the catch is, the program itself is encoded. So whoever has it needs the key to open it. The key to the key, so to speak. They say the cops and the ISSD Special Forces have been searching every corner of the asteroid for it. Guess they never thought to look in the casino. Or even if they did, who'd ever suspect the humble poker chip?
Not bad. You've done your homework.
I used to be with ISSD Special Forces myself in another lifetime.
Who was a casino's a perfect place to launder large sums of stolen money? You had the right idea. You just chose the wrong day. Now it's only right that we do our civic duty and give it to the police. Since, as you pointed out, it's worthless to us. It's not worthless if I pay you for it. 300 million woolongs. I'll go easy on you. Make it 30 million. Cheap for a magic key, huh? All right. Okay, 6 million turns into 30 million.
Our little nest egg's growing.
Just be ready. Don't get caught off guard.
Okie dokie. Fellas who want cash up front are rare these days. Yeah, guess I'm just an old-fashioned kind of guy.
Beautiful. Now we will both count to 3. Then we'll release the magnetic field and move it up toward you. At the exact same time, you will toss the chip carefully to us.
No problem.
I'm trusting you, pal.
Confirm that we have the chip, then destroy them.
Right.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
Galdo. Hello, Romany. Bye.
Don't let her go. Fire! All right. Six of them. Destroy all of them. All this is for now is one bad. Might as well use it to start from square one.
What would bind me till I break my finger feet and love? It's not enough.
Well, I have a slight problem. I'm kind of out of fuel at the moment. So if you could just take me to Ganymede, I'd really appreciate it. Oh. Oh, damn it! Why is everyone in such a hurry all the time? Don't they know it's unhealthy? Huh? Huh?
Our specialty is sea rat. Usually it takes us harvested and after the game stabilized, we wasn't scared anymore. People stopped eating. Fancy ass, they claim it's usually did anyway.
Well, that's now. Lots of well, I wanted to order one.
I didn't. Mother! Hey, waiter, where's my sea rat saute?
Come on, do that morphine for my dog.
Yeah, it's Morgan. Lean back.
Should we just grab him and forget about breakfast?
Oh,
Young man, are you aware that the Ganymede sea rat is a very intelligent and kind animal?
What's that?
that woman. Is she? Well, I didn't know the circus was in town.
Warriors are eco-soldiers who work night and day to preserve the environment and protect endangered species all over the universe. Thank you for your cooperation.
I remember. That woman has a 25 million bounty.
Stop right there. Game over. Take it easy. You don't want to see your dear mother hurt now. How's our boy Morgan?
He's all full of holes.
Thanks to you, we lost our reward. Fortunately, you're worth a lot more. 25 million will buy a lot of lobster stew.
Oh, fire. He's good, a professional bounty hunter. There's nothing we can do for now. Take care of the base while I'm away. I'll be back in no time.
Better hit the road, rat boy. I don't think you want to be here when the police show up.
Oh, Harrison, you'll get your punishment later when I return.
It's Harrison's lucky day. Mama won't be back for a while. Universal Environmental Protection Society.
More like environmental terrorists. They're called the Space Warriors. Used to be a good group of dedicated people working to preserve the environment and protect endangered species. They did great work all around the asteroid. But a few years ago, a new leader took over. Everything changed. Most of the members dropped out. Those who are left are more violent with the local crime syndicate. They have a special thing for the Ganymede sea rats. And guess who's in charge of these psycho-terrorists? Twinkle will be a word.
Please do not associate us with common terrorists. We are warriors of peace fighting a noble battle for the law of nature.
Yeah. We saw how peaceful you were. Now, how do we pick up that reward?
The Ganymede police, but the government just blocked it.
What?
I'm trying to track it. Looks like the government canceled their offer as of yesterday.
Why'd they do that?
When you're told not to open something, well, who is this? Now, I didn't really open this. It just opened up by itself.
Follow your instructions, the bounty's been canceled. We also have a bill that will protect the sea rats from harvesting. The sea rats on Ganymede will be safe.
Where is Mom?
Well, whoever's got her hasn't contacted us yet, but we're trying to track her down. If we catch them, I promise you we'll,
If Mom isn't back here soon, and I need soon, we'll set the plan in motion.
We're trying to do everything you asked for. We're carrying out your wishes.
Whatever it is, you can't eat it, and I'm starving.
Look at this. There's no record of that terrorist attack we saw.
Hey, what is going on? I told you were wasting your time. You must feel very foolish. Might as well let me go, you lost.
Not quite. There's something behind all this.
Hi, I just picked up your signal and now I have a slight problem. I'm kind of out of fuel at the moment.
I don't believe it.
If you could just take me to Gary, I'd be very appreciative. Or if you could just loan me a spare fuel rod, I'd pay you back, of course. Are you listening? I know you're there. Say something.
That's what you did. You took all the money you stole from us and you lost it gambling in a casino.
You know what they say, cowboy. Easy come, easy go.
They also say there's no honor among thieves. Got anything, Jet?
Nah. I have an old friend on Ganymede. I'm trying to reach him.
That's even worse than all. What's this?
No, we still don't know where the virus is. Yes, Mr. President. We'll do our best. Oh. Hey, Chief. What? It's about the man who did that Twinkle Murdoch. Did you find him yet?
You're sure this is the guy I told you to take me to the ISSP?
Yes, then I'm sure that he's a lot. So what say we go?
Right. Like I'm gonna take your word for this.
What? What's this whole thing about, Bob?
No big deal. Not in the end, I'll go. Better let it go, and I'll put you bridges out.
Yo, Bob.
You know, when we worked in the same department, a lot of those illegal eye drops things don't seem to disappear. What do you say? You want to work with those dirty? I have a bad idea, dirty. No, please. I get your business. So what do you want to know? All the negotiations with affecting the release of the virus. That knowledge that lethal or Ganymede, huh?
How's that going on?
The Shanghai Bioagency Metro Virus Specialist. Listen to design a virus for this effect. Your monkey business. Seems humans and monkeys have only a 2% difference in their DNA structure. This virus is tweaked in half just under 2%. It won't have an effect on any other animals or plants. It'll leave the rest of the ecosystem intact. That's right. It's uniquely directed to see and only sees out of 3 feet.
You don't give up.
ISSP is always driving through. Lost contact. Safety test. No other option.
So you're gonna cave in even though we built the leader of the whole group here? We're holding the trump card right here in our hands.
Orders from the top. There's nothing that we can do.
We're letting her go.
Us or them? Which one? Which one of us truly deserves punishment from heaven? Soon the hour of judgment will arrive. Yes, very soon.
release procedure is complete. We'll continue to track her using our covert agents.
And the satellite?
It'll be operational in about an hour.
Get the tech team ready, but don't take action till we know the location of the virus.
Sir, a communication from Twinkle Murdoch.
Huh?
Long time no see, Minister? Now about all those promises you made.
Well, yes, we've passed a bill to limit the harvesting of the sea rats so their population will be maintained securely.
But I didn't say limit, I said prohibit.
Well, then I'll bring it back up in the Parliament to look at it in a positive light.
I think you need a demonstration of what's in store for you.
Wait, we can discuss this. Mama, please, not this! Mama, please, no!
Alpha 105 to team leader. Target has entered the wasteland sector.
Acknowledged. Continue pursuit. Huh?
Is that all they were planning?
Ugh,
Jack, can you hear me? Tune into frequency 72 now!
I need to learn
You're
something.
doing a lot.
Scale, up or down the fretboard or guitar. Lesson for you. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Bed here. Today I've got a cool little lesson for you on the pentatonic scale. I'm going to teach you the 5 pentatonic shapes of going across the fretboard. If you've ever felt stuck in a box, you know the box I mean, just going up and down and all your lead lines sound the same, then you need to expand and take those notes and move them up and down the fretboard. It's not too theory heavy and you can just go the shape route if that's what you want. But I do talk about the notes and how it makes sense moving up and down the fretboard. Don't forget that you can get the tabs for this lesson on my Patreon, and I would be very grateful for the support. Any scale that you learn going from the low E all the way to the high E and back can be moved up the fretboard or down the fretboard depending on which way you want to go, because it'll be the same notes in different positions. Coming out of your comfort zone and playing the same notes but in different areas, you're going to form different patterns, and then you can take those patterns and you can move them back to your first shape, and they'll be tricky and different to play, but it's going to open up some new doors. Maybe it'll open up a secret door which will lead you straight to main stage Glastonbury. I don't know. Maybe it'll just lead you to the pub. Maybe it'll just lead you to your shed in the back garden. Don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to get on with the lesson. Have fun. So the pentatonic scale is just one of those scales that every guitarist should know. It's the foundations of rock and blues, so many other genres. But I feel like a lot of people get stuck in a rut with it, and they never really expand from that first position that they learn. Don't get me wrong, there are so many amazing licks and solos that I love that I've used predominantly this first shape, and I will continue to use it when I'm improvising. But there's so much more of the fretboard that you can explore, and I think it's worthwhile getting to know the other shapes and practicing out of your comfort zone, so to speak. A lot of people get put off thinking, oh, well, I don't know where to go. When you're moving a scale up or down the fretboard on guitar, it's the exact same notes, but just in a different order. So if we break down down the first octave of the A pentatonic minor scale, we've got 5 notes, pentatonic 5 notes, A, C, D, E, G, and then back to A again. To make it a little bit simpler for you right now, we're going to give each one of these notes a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to 1 again. Now to plan out the next position, we're just going to start from the second note of that scale and move through. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. But instead of playing those notes there, we're going to play them here. And that's literally all it is. It's the exact same notes, but we're moving them up the fretboard. So position 3, we could map that out here. We're going to go to the third note, which is a D, and play through. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to start on this D and play it up here. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. I think a lot of people get confused with the guitar because if you take C on a piano at this octave, it exists in one place. But on a guitar, we can play it here, 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 all at the same octave. But it gives us a choice in terms of tone. It's what makes it a little bit more difficult on guitar.
I mean, I can work on shit like that later. It's not really my thing. Dragon's fucking cars. I'd forgotten I searched for that. Oh.
Brought to you by Surfshark VPN. What's up, guys? Helen here. You don't have to be choking down Herbalife protein while wearing a buttery soft pair of LuLaRoe leggings. You know that multi-level marketing is everywhere. You may associate MLMs with your Facebook friend Ash Lincoln. The homecoming queen got married young and now slides into your DMs. Like globally, 100 million households buy into an MLM every year. And in any given moment, 1 in 6 American households are under contract with one of these companies. And trust us, they would love to be your next person. And dunking on MLM is something perhaps you've seen John Oliver's eviscerating expose on last week's night, or perhaps listen to the podcast agree. But just in case you're still debating whether or not to use a second mortgage out on your home in order to buy a wholesale supply of protein bars, let us be crystal clear. MLMs are categorically a scam. Statistically, you're more likely to profit from gambling in a casino than from joining an MLM. That said, today we're not going to regurgitate every point about this position, no matter how alarming and valid this point may be. Instead, we're going to ask, why have MLMs become such a mainstay of the global economy? And what does it say about us, both as people and a society? I'm here to learn the answer, but sure, let's explore in this wisecrack edition how MLMs took over the world. But before we dive in, I want to talk about this week's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN's uncrackable encryption and secure protocol keeps your data secure as you click around the internet. There are so many upsides to use search engines like Surfshark. But one perk of using it is that the internet can't determine
Oh, all the wealth of men was mine to squander. Times of life rose beneath my feet.
I get the best price for my how?
Palaces, pleasure mine to wander. Some of it will leave me incomplete. Every soul, hold my name.
And you'll find options for your favorite apps too, like Firefox and Chrome.
Truest love is always by my side.
Starting on November 1st, you can get Surfshark VPN for 83% off.
Grateful
Plus,
sons and dogs.
You'll go through December 31st. So be sure to check it out.
So would never still be satisfied.
Protect yourself online and
It's not
download
enough.
Surfshark VPN today. And now, back to the show. Now, to
It's not
understand the power of
enough.
MLM, it helps to know where they came from.
I
The
could
basic
walk
MLM model was
the
first
world
invented and
forever
implemented by an
till my
unlikely trio of
shoes
men in the
filled with
early
blood.
1940s.
It's not
A failed
enough.
entrepreneur, a radio show psychologist,
It's not
and a
enough.
salesman turned sales manager for the world's fanciest
Good
company.
right or
What
wrong,
a
it's
whole
a
eternity
rabbit.
of dudes you'll want to sit next to
Everything
on a
beneath
prospect's
the
flight.
sun,
Each of these
it's
men
not enough.
First, we've got failed
It's not
entrepreneurs for already
enough
evaporated
to
milk.
make me
Despite the fact that
whole.
used almost no
It's
dairy.
not
After a
enough.
couple more failed businesses, he put processed
Never
alfalfa
was.
drops into a capsule, called it a vitamin, and then desperately tried
Wake my soul.
Roast Squad, we have
It's
radio
not
shows like
enough.
and Sparkleberry. The robots
Never
would still be
was.
titles like How to Work Miracles in Your
It's
Life,
not enough.
Golden Secret of Successful Living.
It's
Earning the
not
money,
enough.
Sparkleberry signed on to become a salesman for Red Horse
Could
Mutual.
walk the world
What the most
forever
interesting player?
till my shoes are filled with blood.
Salesman
It's
turned
not
sales manager
enough.
for Los Angeles Park Farm
It's
Cemetery.
not enough. I could right or wrong, it's a ravage. Everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not enough. The woman found me till I could drink my fill of beer and laugh. It's not
After all,
enough.
the funeral process is really expensive,
not
no matter
enough.
where you live. But prior to 1920, most people used to get their burial plots at a low cost or via donation from churches or other nonprofits. That is, until entrepreneurs sent hordes of direct door-to-door salesmen to peddle yoga mat-sized chunks of land to people who were, well, not dead yet. And when someone had actually died, these salesmen would often exploit the grief of family members. They do things like pressuring them to do right by their dead relatives by investing in expensive funeral costs. Now, it's not like people woke up one day wanting to spend thousands of dollars on their final resting place. So the more than 100 cemetery salesmen that Meitinger managed had a very specific and very ambitious job. They had to create a widespread want and need for a product that nobody had asked for. They weren't responding to natural consumer demand, they were providing a supply of something people were used to getting for cheap and or free. But Meitinger was annoyed by one aspect of his job description. Training salesmen who would eventually get promoted to manager. Once promoted, he stopped earning commission off of their sales, let alone anybody they managed. Meitinger dreamed of creating a business model that would allow him to continue to profit off of his underlings' success. He envisioned a world where I keep the income from the people I develop. So, cemetery guy and the radio psychologist met in a self-improvement course and became best buds. In 1943, they developed the plan, which they brought to their vitamin buddy Renford. The plan was a new way for him to market and sell his alfalfa capsules. This plan detailed the nuts and bolts of multi-level marketing, aka a recruitment-based direct sales force. And this alfalfa sprout has sprouted MLMs as we know them today. Faced with an unremarkable item that nobody wanted to buy, our trio did something savvy. They created a fake demand by recruiting a growing army of salespeople who had to buy a stockpile of vitamins they would then try and fail to sell. And those 1940 salespeople were spurred on by all the same promises you hear today. Endless revenue possibilities, becoming a small business owner, working flexible hours, and so on. And if they recruited some unsuspecting friends, they'd be paid a pretty penny for their trouble. The company had a standard 5-get-5 plan, in which each member, starting with the founders, was tasked with recruiting 5 new salespeople. So you get commission for everyone you recruit, and everyone your recruits recruit, and so on.
This might seem innocuous at its face, but pull out a calculator and you'll quickly see that this process can only last for approximately 13 rounds before you need to recruit more than the entire population of the planet, according to multi-level marketing critic Robert Fitzpatrick. And there's every reason to believe the founders of the first MLM knew that the exponential growth plan was entirely unsustainable. In fact, one of these clowns even joked that everyone on Earth would eventually be selling the product. And in a way, it worked. Nutrilite's revenue grew by an astounding 50,000% in just 9 years. Of course, that revenue, under the plan, mostly flew to the top 4% of the food chain, those who had recruited early on and now had thousands of people beneath them. It was less people earning money and more a transfer of wealth from the bottom 96% to those at the top. Then, in the late 50s, 2 seasoned Nutrilite salesmen left and formed a new MLM, Amway, which sold basic household items like detergent and body wash. These dudes, one of whom birthed Betsy DeVos's husband, didn't merely carbon copy the model, they brought it God. As Fitzpatrick puts it, Amway turned earning money into a moral crusade by promising wealth as a salvation and proclaiming failure as a sin. That is to say, good Christians sell soap, and lots of it. It's no wonder that one sociologist called Amway a quasi-religious corporation for its success at grafting commercialism onto existing models of evangelical Christianity. As Fitzpatrick elaborated, Amway's
That's
moral
some
tone and Christian
serious
rhetoric
shit,
blended
ain't it?
inexplicably with futuristic capitalism, were adopted by many MLMs and followers. Christian churches became hotbeds of MLM recruiting with clergy upline. That's right, your pastor might be trying to sell you on a lucrative opportunity involving laundry detergent. And importantly, many of history's most successful MLMs today sell products like face creams, vitamins, and diet pills. And these just so happen to be products known for their reliance on questionable marketing claims, which encourage the same magical thinking that gets people to join MLMs in the first place. So now that we know where MLMs came from, it's worth asking, how do they get millions of people to join? And more bafflingly, how do they get people to stay in an economic opportunity that's mathematically destined to fail? Let's investigate via Amway, the big daddy of MLMs. Amway exploded during the economic downturn of the mid-1970s. It was a time of stagflation, the destruction of unions, the privatization of social safety nets, and so on. This environment created the perfect conditions for MLMs to seem like an enticing opportunity. Amway's success would only intensify in the buzzy, consumer-happy decades to come. So it doesn't sound that hard to make people join. After all, as human beings, we're wired for low-effort, high-reward prospects. Just ask your great uncle who buys 5 lottery tickets every week. But let's say you're intrigued by an MLM. How do they get you to stay once you've learned that it's hell on earth? It's simple. They take over your life. That's according to Stephen Butterfield, a former Amway salesperson who wrote a tell-all book about their practices. According to him, Amway slowly but surely takes over every aspect of
My
their
yoke
business.
is easy, my burden is kind.
Brainwashing. For instance,
Lay
Amway
yours
to buy
upon
expensive
me,
motivational tapes
and
recorded
you
by the company's
can
founders and
take
tells you to listen
mine.
to them every day. This practice is what Fitzpatrick describes as pseudo-psychological
Come
self-improvement
on, you
programs. This makes sense
weary,
because MLMs don't actually offer
your
tangible
heavy
economic rewards to their
load.
participants. So they have to,
Lay
like
down
cemetery
your
salesmen, sell
burdens,
people on
find
advice.
rest
As
for
Fitzpatrick
your
puts it,
soul.
MLMs seem to capture the mind of
'Cause
the
my
recruiter.
yoke
Money will
is
follow. The more they
easy,
believe,
my
the longer they
burden
believe, the more
is
money the company
kind.
gets from them. And once they get
Lay
you to buy in, they
yours
keep you by
upon
exerting
me,
increasing control
and
over your choices.
you
As
can
Butterfield
take
explains,
mine.
you follow your recruiter's advice on everything from how to cut your hair to what kind of motorhome you should buy. He details the various bonkers advice that
Fuck
MLM
me,
leaders
running.
offer on things like marriage,
How
sexual
do I get?
practices, and how to raise your children.
Stop
Yes,
being
similar ethos
somebody who
reflected
just
in
gets
current
sucked in
MLMs.
by every
Most
goddamn
notably Lulu Rose.
multi-level marketing bullshit?
Supposed to be empowered at first, and then the husband was supposed to take over.
And like other MLMs, Amway also demands all of your time. As Butterfield notes, Amway insists distributors work 5 to 6 nights a week on recruitment and sustaining their business. They pump you up at creepy social events, where upwards of 10,000 people stand for hours in the dark, holding candles, shouting Amway-themed chants. Butterfield says that the events often go past midnight, and crowds pour out into the streets at 3 a.m., still chanting their mantras.
Let's take a trip. Let's get away.
It's no wonder, then, that author Amanda Montell argues that MLMs are, if not straight-up cults, at the very least, cultish. For more on that, check out our recent video on the topic. Like a cult, an effective MLM subsumes the lives of their members. It reshapes their worldviews and priorities. And it threatens serious social and economic repercussions to anyone who even considers leaving. But maybe you're thinking, it's It's all worth it for the money you're gonna make, right? Did you just black out? You absolutely will not profit. Unless you invented the MLM or joined right away, you will lose money. So there you have it. MLMs are an almost guaranteed economic loss, and a very not fun culty vibe. So, how have they survived? Well, importantly, they've bought a shit ton of political clout via their gigantic direct marketing lobby. Check out Fitzpatrick's book, Ponzinomics, for an in-depth breakdown of that insane story. But for now, we're going to focus on the culture and the psychology that has sustained MLMs, because that seems just as important as the government corruption that's helped them along. And for that, we'll need to jump back in time again, to the moment MLMs appeared on the scene, the post-World War II economic boom. This was approximately the same time as the birth of the consumer-based economy, where increased production capacity meant there was a lot more shit being made, and thus a lot more shit to buy. Suddenly, consumer behavior needed to stop being entirely needs-based and started becoming a whole lot more wants-based. So, how do you get people to want shit they don't absolutely need? You sell them. Hard. Unsurprisingly, the late 40s, early 50s was also the birth of the salesification of American society. Per historian Richard Huber, while sales was once considered a separate occupation, a way of life, America was becoming a nation of salesmen. At the same time, sociologist C. Wright Mills concurred that the growing influence of sales in this time meant that in public and in private, there is the tang and feel of salesmanship. Salespeople, especially of the door-to-door variety, had once constituted a specific small role in the economy, and were often derided as kind of predatory. But as companies had more and more shit to sell, sales got a major rebrand, and the explosion of advertising, PR, marketing, and so on meant that more and more people's jobs were based around getting people to buy more shit they didn't need. Check out our How Advertising Changed video for more on that. Anyway, that's why the emergence of MLMs at this moment in time makes perfect sense. Multi-level marketing is the logical conclusion of a sales-based economy, where everything revolves around selling products, then selling people on the opportunity to themselves sell more of these products. But this, as many a tortured economist has howled into the wind, doesn't make sense. See, the reason 80% of MLM recruits quit in the first year is because MLMs don't function under rules of supply and demand. They grow not because of consumer demand, but by selling the members on the lie of economic success. Then, those people buy a ton of the product to sell themselves, thus generating revenue for the company. After a while, you've completely oversaturated any given area with salespeople. It's the equivalent of every person who likes going to their local Wendy's subsequently opening a Wendy's on the same block because the cashier was really fucking charismatic. But let's set aside the irrationality. The real point is that the salesification of society has normalized the interactions you have over Facebook with Ash Linden as she tries one last time to get you to come to her meal replacement soy shake party. In an MLM-led world, the mix of money and friendship no longer seems strange. According to Fitzpatrick, prior to 1930, bringing up finances or money-making with buddies wasn't super kosher. But, he elaborates, overall reactions to these devious financial intrusions into personal spheres of life, worship, friendship, family, have declined from moral outrage to mere annoyance or grudging tolerance. For many others, there is no longer any boundary at all. And to us, that's what's most nefarious about MLMs. Besides, the bankruptcy, clinical depression, divorce, and overall despair that the industry's been known to cause. Because on a socio-cultural level, MLMs obliterate the line between markets and private life, family members and customers, friends and employees. In doing so, they essentially reduce all human relationships to transactions. Butterfield wrote as much, saying, Amway begins to change your life the first time you approach your friends and family members to sell them the products or recruit them into the business. Hitherto, you related with them as friend, brother, sister, son, daughter. Now you're relating as a salesperson to a customer. Friendship is no longer primary. It is a means to the end. According to him, once you recruit a friend to an MLM, your relationship becomes a completely prefabricated business association in which honest friendship gradually becomes impossible. This is almost too fitting for our weird era of late capitalism, where everything is a commodity, and every person a brand with potential to peddle that commodity. And above all, MLMs work at an almost lizard brain level, exploiting the most American belief that all you need to succeed is an opportunity, hard work, and dedication. And on the flip side, if you fail to succeed, it's on you. Now, obviously, this is a myth that has become increasingly untrue over recent decades. Work hours and productivity are way up, while wealth is down for most folks by every metric. If MLMs were somewhat delusional for our grandparents in the 50s, for us they're a downright fairy tale where nobody becomes a princess in the end. And not in a subversive Shrek way either. I'm supposed to be beautiful.
You are beautiful.
And in this way, MLMs aren't that different from the American economy at large, which assures us that hard work will be rewarded with high pay, or that an expensive college degree will yield a steady lifestyle, or that home ownership will equate to lifelong security. MLMs are just an exaggerated, almost cartoonish form of this toothless myth. They offer riskier opportunities, make bolder promises, and screw you over even more.
And I'm also having to claim bankruptcy.
In this way, they're an almost too perfect distillation of a society that overpromises, underdelivers, and then blames you for your problems. But what do you guys think? After everything you've heard, are you still interested in starting your own small business where you pick up your own hours and are your own boss? If so, please let me know in my Twitter DMs because boy, do I have an opportunity for you. Big thanks to our patrons for all your support, and don't forget to check out our podcast. Hit that subscribe button like you're emptying your bank account to buy a lifetime supply of plant fertilizer, and don't forget to ring that bell. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.
Hey, Wisecrack, this is Jared, Clown Prince of Wisecrack, and today we're talking about the guy people have in mind when they say that Batman has all the best.
Hitler is the greatest man who's ever lived. I gotta get back, feed them.
25th. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Norm MacDonald. Come on, Norm.
How you doing, buddy? I'm doing well, sir. Place goes crazy. Oh, okay. Hey. Have I been funny so far? more than funny, my friend. All right. Norm, some sort of practical joke at this point.
We have breaking entertainment news. Variety has confirmed actor, comedian, and former SNL star Norm Macdonald has died. Macdonald died after a private 9-year battle with cancer. The Canadian comedian got his start as a writer on Roseanne in 1992. He joined the cast of Saturday Night Live in 1993. Norm Macdonald was 61.
I'm sick of these kind of characters. I think we should kill Hitler. Me and you go suicide, kill him.
Died 50 years ago.
Did he? I didn't even know he was sick.
But I did want to bring up Norm Macdonald first, if you don't mind, and your thoughts on somebody who I'm sure you've known for quite some time.
Well, I didn't know he was sick at all. It's sad.
We lost Norm Macdonald this week, which was just, I had no idea that he was even sick.
I'll close with talking about Norm. Norm, great guy. I won't overdo it about him, but we had a really fun thing, me and him, and
Absolutely stunned. Had no idea that Norm had not only been very ill, but been very ill for a very long time. None of us had any idea.
Yeah. You would drink yourself? Probably. Yeah. You been thinking about your mortality a lot lately? Or?
Well, yeah, I mean, you turn 70 and it's you can't run from it.
Fuck, I was hoping you could. You know where I differ from a lot of people? When I...
Really?
Really? You're different from a lot of people. When I have my funeral, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, most of these funerals, crying and sad and everything like that. And that's what I like, you know. I don't want, I've heard of other ones. Let's have a party. Whoa.
No party.
There'll be a lot of party days later. But right now, I'm dead. I mean, you know, people should be talking, crying.
I have to say, when I die, I really hope my friends do that with me. I'll be so disappointed if they don't.
You know what I want my friends to do when I die?
What?
I want them just to get around and try to bring me back to life. I never talked about me, really. You know, I talked about universal me. You know what I mean?
Right.
That I was afraid of death or that, you know, that kind of thing, which is something that everybody is afraid of, you know. And so things like that it was me, but it was everybody.
Sure.
I wasn't pretending that it was a specific
Right.
ailment that I had. And if I had a specific ailment, then possibly I do. You don't know.
I don't know.
But I would not talk about it. I would not. I hope that I would not discuss it and just try to benefit monetarily from that. My mother is a breast cancer survivor. My aunt is a breast cancer survivor. My grandmother is a breast cancer survivor. And they were all diagnosed between 20
Thank you,
and 30
Norm
years
MacDonald,
ago.
for teaching me it's okay
Just had a magnificent
to
Thanksgiving
write a
with
really
them,
dumb
last
joke.
week. So hang in there, and this too shall pass. God bless.
You don't have the flu? You weren't feeling it early? You were a little under the weather. Had a cold?
I was a little bit sick, you know. I went to the doctor. I was going to the doctor, you know, because I'm
When
worried.
you're sick, you go to the doctor?
Yeah, or even when I'm not. You know what?
Yeah, that's right.
Even when I'm not, I'm worried. Maybe today I'll get like bowel cancer or something. You know, like I get concerned. No, I swear that might sound weird, but there actually is no such thing. I checked with the medical dictionary. But when I'm on stage, I just feel alone. I think that's why. I don't look at anyone.
Exactly.
And everyone's in control.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm talking to myself.
So that's not scary being a stand-up for you.
No. You know what I think, like, people's fear, like, they always go, like, number one fear of public speaking. To me, it would be bowel cancer or something. Like, I said that.
That's good.
My Uncle Bert, he's my great uncle, but we call him Uncle Bert. He got bowel cancer now. He's dying of it, you know. And or like some people like to say, now they see in the old days a man could just get sick and die, you know. Now they have to wage a battle. So my Uncle Bert is waging a courageous battle, which I've seen because I go and visit him, and this is the battle. He's lying in a hospital bed with a thing in his arm watching Matlock on the TV. Instead of that battle, I got him the box set of Matlock. But it's not his fault. What the f*** is he supposed to do? Yes. It's just a black thing in his bowel. And the reason I don't like it is because in the old days they go, hey, that old man died. Now they go, hey, he lost his battle. That's no way to end your life, you know. What a loser that guy was. Last thing he did was lose. He was waging a brave battle, but at the end, I guess he got kind of cowardly with what happened. And then the bowel cancer, it got brave. You got to give it to the bowel cancer. You know, they were in a battle, and then what the And I'm pretty sure, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure if the cancer dies, I mean, if you die, the cancer also dies at exactly the same time. So that, to me, is not a loss, that's a draw. That's a, you know what I mean? It's not like the cancer's going to jump up and go, Uncle Bert's wife. Where is he? I won fair and square. This is where he works. Hi, name's Cancer. How are you? Where do I? Just show me to my cubicle. Bowel. First name's Bowel. Good to be alive. You know what I mean? That's what I say. That's what I like. That, I find that to be the goodest thing there is. To be alive. And the reason it's so good is because it's so bad to be dead. It's not like life's so fucking great, but compared to being smothered in earth. So I just every day I'm happy not. That's my goal in life is not to die. Everybody need a goal, and so that's my New Year's resolution every year. I go, I'm not gonna die. I think actually scientists should kind of look into that whole death thing because they seem to focus on diseases, and I don't give a fuck about them because. The guy go, hey, we fixed your arthritis. And they go, I'm still going to die? They go, yeah. So that, I think, is the biggest problem. That's why I can't get behind politicians, because they're always like, our biggest problem today is unemployment. And I'm like, what about getting old and sick and dying? And they usher me out the back way, but... Seriously, if there was a politician ever that said, by my second term, there will be no death, I go, I'm voting for that fucker. I'd just give that guy all my money, and I'd sit on a chair. Sometimes I actually think I won't die. You ever think that? You go, fuck it, I'm not dying. But in your mind, when, you analyze, you realize, my dad died, and my grandfather died, and my great-grandfather died, and the guy before him, I don't know, probably died. I think he died. Because otherwise he'd be on extra. No, I come from a long line of death. That's my point. And so I fear it, I fear it a lot. And I think most of us do, but it's funny, like what we fear, how we're going to die, it's always the ways we don't die, you know what I mean? Like we go, God damn, I hope a polar bear doesn't eat me, or some crazy shit, Or I hope an airplane, I got an airplane today. Every time you get on an airplane, you go, hope I don't die. But you never die in an airplane? Ridiculous.
I found out, and then it was in the press, and then the floodgates opened. And I couldn't even go online. I can't look at clips of him. Although I have, right before I recorded this, wanted to see a couple things. Everybody's sharing stuff, and, he was a comedic genius. Anybody that didn't get it, I'm sorry for you that you didn't get it. He was one of the, he's one of the most important people in my life, and one of the sweetest. And we loved each other. So I met him, he was 17 years old, and I was 21, 22. It was 1978, I think, or 79, one of those two, probably 78. And I was working in Ottawa at a club called, I don't know, Snickerdoodle or something. I don't even remember. It was a Giggles, I don't know. But Norm was in the audience.
Am I wrong, or am I the first comedian that you ever saw live?
Yes, you were. Yeah, it was before there was a stand-up club in my city. There was a place called, Hiccups, in Ottawa.
Hiccups.
And I was 15, and me and my buddies went there. And then you made fun of me. You played the guitar a lot. and I had weird hair, and you said, take the ribbon from your hair, and you kept coming back to me. And then I, afterwards, like an idiot, went up to you at the bar, like people do, like as if they're part of the act. I'm like, hey, should we talk? And you were just trying to get ladies,
Well, I think it's the way you said, shall we talk?
Oh.
I think it was almost like saying, get in the car.
He had a bushy haircut, big one. I'm sure you've seen it. Some people, I really loved seeing some pictures that people posted of him at that age that I saw, because it was this sweet guy who had a brain and bandwidth that most people aren't born with, who was also, like most comedians, an outsider. And we talked. We talked at the bar, and I remembered it specifically a few years later when I met him for real, in clubs in Canada. I think it was at Yuck Yucks, I'm not sure. This doesn't matter, right? But the point is, he was in my life. I was in his in an acquaintance kind of way. And then a bunch of years passed, and we would see each other on the comedy scene, and we became friends. And everybody I know get into the room to watch him on stage. Sometimes he would purposely tank, as you know. Anybody that understands, they call him a comics comic. That's just, I hate that expression, but I guess it's true because comedians couldn't help but laugh at him because he was so fucking brilliant. And he would say things that might not be able to be said by anybody, or that wouldn't be able to be said by anyone else. We're talking about an original voice, and his influences were all the usual suspects, all the people that love comedy and see who his roots were. But he found a way to do things that came from a voice that nobody had. I'd never heard anyone like him. He loved dark humor from the very beginning. If you look at these clips, I was able to see a couple of them when he was one of his very earliest appearances. I think it was on Conan. He's just this young, thin lad, and talking about that dark stuff, murder. And those are themes because Norm needed to feel things very, very deeply. And Norm did feel things very deeply. So when on that amazing Letterman appearance 2 weeks before David went off the air, and Norm was the last stand-up comedian to go on there, and I only know this, I know all about it because we had talked about it, but listening to the Howard Stern interview in 2016 is a valuable piece. Just to see his love for David. He didn't know what he was going to say. And the people that he really loved, he would tell them. So if you're one of those lucky people, because he'd gone through a lot. Norm, very complicated, right? So we're talking about a guy at 14, 15 years old, had a difficult upbringing. And he said it. He made it known he didn't have much of a father figure in his life, so David was kind of one. He revered intelligence and was drawn to it, and when people got him, it meant the world to him. And that's kind of the thing that made him a comics comic, because he's saying that I got to erase that from my mind. But he would love smart people. He loved Howard, and David, everybody, Conan. He had such a strong kinship, and as Norm would say, God bless all those people for getting him and loving him, because they're so funny.
Well,
it is.
You start to cry and you go to a joke.
You do, because you don't want to let people into that. You have a lot of stuff that's happened in your life that you don't want to. You and I have talked privately, and see what you're doing.
Bring up
But see,
it's time to do jokes. This is where we put in a big thing, jokes.
Yeah.
So here, you can start.
I spent time with Norm was the best. Just a unique, original, guy who was also a great friend. He was a great talk show guest. Letterman loved him. Letterman, Norm did stand up on Letterman's Last Week on the Air, which was kind of like a famous thing where Norm showed a lot of emotions. But one time Chris Farley was hosting the Saturday Night Live, and he was so out of control that Norm had to watch him. And Norm called me to watch him, which was, kind of like, how out of control do you have to be that Norm and I are watching you? And we went to the after party after Chris Farley hosted Saturday Night Live, and we were at the after party, and Norm went off talking to somebody, and I'm watching Farley. He says, "Hey, keep an eye on Farley." So I saw Chris Farley disappear into a bathroom with Andy Dick for a few minutes, and then he came out giggling, and Norm came back over and said, "Hey man, how's Farley?" I said, "Bad news, man." And he goes, "What?" He goes, "He went into a bathroom with Andy Dick for 5 minutes and came out smiling." And Norm said, "There's only two reasons you go to a bathroom with Andy Dick, and either one of them's good." And Norm said, "Jesus Christ, I hope he's high." Again, he could take a funny situation, make it funnier. Norm was also great at doing. It's hard to explain sometimes. He was great at taking something that's obvious, an obvious weird thing about something, and observing it, and then just bringing it to his act and explaining it to people. Like
It was nuts about Norm. He's so funny. One of the funniest guys ever.
Yeah,
maybe everyone's prone to hyperbole when someone passes, but maybe the funniest person that ever lived. He's pretty hilarious.
I watch YouTube stuff of him almost on a nightly basis.
And he's, I think, what everyone, like the universal kind of sentiment was that he was just fearless. And he's just fearless, unique, original, and just like kind of one of the, last comics to really just not be afraid to I think one of his things is he's like, jokes should surprise people and never pander.
Yeah, you couldn't predict
never
his
pander.
punchlines.
Yeah.
He's so funny. His movie Dirty Works, that was like one of the first seminal comedies for me. I was in fifth grade when I watched it with Greg and my brother, and dude, just dying laughing the entire time. And he was edgy, but then there was always this kind of sweetness to him, and then just the mischief in his face when he was delivering jokes.
So let me say a couple of words about Norm, for God's sakes. I did feel a closeness to him because he'd been on the show so many times. A couple of times over the years, you remember when Norm was on Saturday Night Live, he used to do this Bob Dole impression, Senator Bob Dole. And a couple of times I had asked Norm, would you be willing to get in full makeup and come on and be Bob Dole? Because I always thought it was so great, his impression. It was just funny, and he had funny lines. And Norm said, it's a tremendous pain in the ass to get into that Bob Dole makeup. He said, but I love the show and I love you guys so much, I'll do it. And he would do it, and he would come in as Bob Dole, and it was always funny. And over the years, he'd come in, tell stories, and, he's Norm. He's a legend. And I always thought it was a big sin that Norm got fired from Saturday Night Live. Norm was on Saturday Night Live for 5 seasons. He hosted Weekend Update for 3 years. He was great at it.
He was the gold standard, and he will continue to be the gold standard. And I would just suggest everybody go watch him tell the Moth story on Conan. Go watch any number of Norm Macdonald things tonight, because they are really truly timeless. Rest in peace, Norm.
No one was funnier the last 20 years than Norm Macdonald on late night comedy. So if you have any time in the next week, do what I did and just spend time YouTubing clips of Norm and Conan, because it just doesn't get better than that. Thanks so much.
We lost Norm Macdonald today, and Norm was a very funny dude and a unique kind of talent. I wouldn't say we were best of friends, but I think we were friends, and I met him many times. But this thing he did on Conan O'Brien is just fucking great. For you, here we go.
Wait a minute, she left Melrose
do a movie with Carrot Top?
That's where I'm going, my friend. But what's the movie going to be called?
Well, I know what it's going to be called.
Yeah, what's that?
If it's got Carrot Top in it, you know what a good name for it would be?
What's that, Norm?
Box Office Poison.
So I'm curious about this.
What about my career?
Courtney Thorne Smith, the girl sitting to your
I always
left,
want to please Athena.
is in the movie.
I'm going to go see it for fun.
Have you steer everybody else away?
No, I love this. I'd see any movie with this girl in it. She's a beautiful lady and a talented, nice talk show guest.
There's this movie coming out.
Yeah.
Title undetermined at this point.
Chairman of the board.
Oh, all right. Do something with that, you freak.
I bet the board is spelled B-O-R-E-D.
Now, not all your material comes from the news. Is that right? You know,
No, some of my material my strongest material comes from real life.
real life.
Like, for instance, today I was driving in a car. You were kind enough to bring a car to bring this old chunk of coal here to the studio.
We send cards for our guests. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got in it, and I get material that way. So my
What do you mean? How do you get material that way? You get in the car, and what happens?
my driver tells me a joke.
The driver we sent to pick you up told you a joke.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell it now on the show.
Yeah, that's how I get a lot of my material.
Okay. Why don't we just have him on next time?
That guy. That guy. No, wait till you hear me do it. So the guy, he goes, I say, I'll be the guy.
Okay.
A moth goes into a podiatrist's office.
A moth goes into a podiatrist's office. Right?
You are correct. A moth goes into a podiatrist's office, and the podiatrist's office says, "What's the problem?" And the moth says, "What's the problem? Where do I begin, man?" He goes, "I go to work for Gregory Linovich, and all day long I work. Honestly, Doc, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I don't even know if Gregory Linovich knows. He only knows that he has power over me, and that seems to bring him happiness. But I don't know. I wake up in a malaise, and I walk here and there." The podiatrist says, "Oh, yeah?" And the moth goes, "Yes." And he goes, "At night, I sometimes wake up and I turn to some old lady in my bed that's on my arm. A lady that I once loved, Doc. I don't know where to turn to. My youngest, Alexandria, she fell in the cold of last year. The cold took her down, as it did many of us. And my other boy, and this is the hardest pill to swallow, Doc. My other boy, Gregorio Linovich. I no longer love him. As much as it pains me to say, when I look in his eyes, all I see is the same cowardice that I catch when I take a glimpse of my own face in the mirror.
Wilderness cat treats.
If only the cowardice was stronger, then perhaps I could bring myself to reach over to that cocked and loaded gun that lays on the bedside behind me and end this hellish facade once
How
and
long
for
a
all.
drive was this? Do you live in the valley? Where do you live? Please, sorry.
He says, "Doc, sometimes I feel like a spider, even though I'm a moth, just barely hanging on to my web with an everlasting fire underneath me. I'm not feeling good." And so the doctor says, "Moth, man, you're trouble. But you should be seeing a psychiatrist. Why on earth did you come here?" And then the moth said, "Because the light was on."
My congratulations to anyone who stuck it through to the end. So Norm.
What?
We're pretty much out of time. Hello, everybody. Here with Norm McDonald, chewing the fat. Where do you live here, of course, in the city, because you're doing the show?
I live in New York City.
Yeah. This isn't a police interrogation. Are you sure? Where about? Where in the city do you live, approximately, not specifically?
I live at 56 between 8th and Broadway.
Okay, and what's your phone number? Just give me 7 digits. All right. What, your neighbors nice people? The people that live around you?
Great people. Every day I meet somebody new, you know. This city's great because of the neighborly people, you know. But I did meet one neighbor, interesting story, you know, that this guy, he just moved in, you know, next door to me. So I'm always one to meet the neighbors.
You like to chat with the neighbors?
Yeah, because, you know, so I went over to the guy, I knocked on the door next door to where I live, and I say to the guy, I said, hey, I'm your new neighbor, you know, and I said, good to see you, you know, nice to run into you, you know, welcome to the neighborhood, you know. And so the guy, I said, what do you do for a living there, sir? You know, if you don't mind me asking. You know, what do you do for a living? I'm a nightclub comic, I tell the guy. So he says to me, he says, I work down at the University of Science there. He says,
That's a good school, by the way.
I can't remember the exact place.
Sure.
But he says, I'm a professor of logic. So I says to the guy, he says, logic. Now, what the hell is that? I never heard tell of that. He says, oh, well, he says it's a kind of a pattern of syllogistic. Well, he says it's hard to explain. He says, why don't I give you an example? So I said, fair enough. Why don't you do that? So the guy says, well, he says, let me ask you a question. He says, do you own a doghouse? So I go, yes, I do. He says, well, then that means you probably have a dog. I said, yes. He says, well, that means you're likely to have a family if you have a dog. I said, yes, I do. He said, well, then that means you got kids, you're married. I said, yes, I am. He says, well, then you're a heterosexual man. I said, yes, sir, I am. He says, well, you see, that's logic there. I asked if simply from finding out you had a doghouse, I made this series of inferences, and I found that you're a heterosexual man simply from the fact that you had a doghouse. Well, I said, good God, isn't that something?
Okay.
So I said, well, I won't waste any more of your time there, neighbor. And I said, I'll see you later.
See you around, okay.
So I said, come by one day and have a chicken with me. So anyways, I left. So I left. So I go to get a bus, you know, to the bus stop. And I walk down to the bus stop, and I'm still thinking about this thing that happened to me, you know. And I'm standing at the bus, and no bus coming at all, you know, and 5 or 6 of us standing around, and one guy lights up a cigarette there, and he goes, as soon as you light up a cigarette, the bus comes. And he smokes the whole damn cigarette, no bus comes.
Right.
So I said to the guy, well, that theory really worked, huh? And the guy goes, well, sometimes it works. Anyways, the guy goes, what's new with you? I go, well, I had an interesting thing happen to me today. I said, I met my neighbor. And he goes, oh, yeah? I go, he had a hell of an interesting job. I said, he's a professor of logic down at the University of
Science.
And so the guy says, is that so? He says, professor of logic. He goes, what the hell is that, logic? I said, well, it's a series of something or other.
Right.
I said, I can't remember exactly, but I said, I'll give you an example if you want to hear an example. So the guy goes, all right, fair enough. So I said, let me ask you this. I said, let me ask you a question. Do you own a doghouse? And the guy goes, no, I don't own a doghouse. So I says, the guy says, oh, yeah, you're one of them gays.
and it worked, right? What great stuff you can learn at the University of Science there. All right.
And then the guy, and then get this.
What?
Get this.
There's more?
This gay guy
Yeah?
invites me to have a chicken at his place.
That's some kind of euphemism. Watch out. All right.
I've been on a lot of shows, but there's no better crowd than you right here. I'll tell you that right
You're a pro.
now.
You're a pro. You came out here. You lit this crowd up.
I'm just telling the truth.
You're a truth teller. You got your book there?
Oh yeah. Let me read some of it.
You don't have to do. You don't have to do that.
That's rich. Look, I'll tell you something.
Yeah. What's up, pal?
This is not a memoir. It says my memoir on it.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought this was a memoir. I thought this was.
No, it only says a memoir on it, but it's a novel. I don't know. So I'm, I was angry when it was in the nonfiction.
Yeah.
Because it's a memoir. It says a memoir. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It's like if you about grapes of wrath. You're like, hey, there's no grapes.
Yeah.
Or you put in the grape section. That's smart.
Yeah.
Then everybody will find grapes of wrath.
Yeah.
People that like grapes.
Okay, listen, Norm, settle down.
Have I made my point?
You made your point.
If this was a memoir, if this were a memoir,
yeah,
I would put juicy things from my own life.
Right. Like what kind of things would you put in there that nobody knows?
Well, I guess the biggest thing that nobody knows about me is I'm a deeply closeted gay man.
What? That's you're a gay man?
I'm not gay. I said I'm deeply closeted.
What?
I'm as straight as an arrow.
So you're a gay man who won't admit it?
No. Do you know what deeply closeted means?
Yeah.
It means a man who will not acknowledge that he's gay.
Yes.
So I'm telling you, I'm not gay. I got a wife.
You got a wife?
I just got married because I thought go through that charade, keep appearances up.
Oh yeah.
That's the kind of thing you'd tell if this were a memoir.
Yeah, if this were a memoir.
Right.
If this were a memoir, I would tell about my wife. What a battle axe.
Battle axe?
I mean,
no one's called their wife a battle axe since 1945.
President, come. How do you feel about a woman? She's supposed to be my life partner. I look in the mirror the other day and I says to her, honey, I look in the mirror and all I see is a fat, ugly old man. And I need you to give me a compliment. She says, all right then. Your eyesight is damn near perfect. I said, you dirty dog.
Wait, you called her a dirty dog?
A dirty dog.
A dirty dog.
We have fights constantly.
Oh, you do you?
Oh, and sometimes it bleeds over. Like we were driving in a car. We went past a bunch of animals. There was a pig, a cow. And I admit this is a little cruel.
You were kind of mad at her at the time.
I was mad at her. So I said, hey, you see that pig, that cow, a horse? That remind you of any of your relatives? She says, yeah, my in-laws. I said, you dirty dog.
Oh, wow. Wow. Dirty dog again. Wow.
I tell you, until I met my wife, I always felt incomplete. Now I'm finished. But I will say this.
What is going on?
I will say this.
What is going on?
I will say
this is
this.
a 1935 radio show.
Any youngman, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
What's that to say there, Norm?
Let me
Norm, what's that to say? Tell us more, Norm. We're going to take a break for Chester so you don't figure that.
Well, let me say something more modern and stylish then.
Okay.
My wife went into a coma.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And the doctor said to me, you won't hear this from any 1935 comic. He says to me, there's one way to wake her up, but it's a little unconventional. You go in there and you have oral sex with her. I said, by God. He says, I've seen it work. I said, well, I'm willing to try. So I go in there. I'm in there about 5 minutes, and I come out. I said, Doc, she's choking. But that's modern medicine
That's
for you.
modern medicine. We're going to take a break. I'm going to find out what's happening here. We're going to take a little break here. Here's a message from the good people at Bosco Chocolate Syrup. We'll be back. More Norm MacDonald after this.
My guest tonight, one of our favorites, a very funny comedian. His upcoming show for Comedy Central is
Passing
called
out is coming
Sports
in.
Show with Norm MacDonald. Please welcome back to the program, Norm MacDonald. That was speed. That was the fastest walkout I've ever had.
Yeah, well, who wants to see people walking, man? We got to do jokes with the greatest crowd, man. They're the greatest crowd I've ever seen.
How do you do that? Because
No, I do have to widen my circle of crowds. But how you doing, pal?
I'm doing good. I miss you. I was telling you this backstage. One of the few comics when I don't hear your comedic voice for all, I miss it. It's so funny, and I'm so glad to see you come back.
Hey, listen, man. I like all your politics.
Thank you, Norm. I appreciate that. Now, you're Canadian. Your government has collapsed. It's completely collapsed.
It has?
It's completely collapsed.
Well, the good thing is it doesn't matter at all. This is why, because you're such a political guy, and I realized when I came here, because I was never political, and it's because you're from America and I'm from Canada, and in America you have a duty to be political, because you vote for the wrong guy, he blows up the world. Right? Now, in Canada, here's our elections in Canada. Go, hey, listen, how does that guy stand on the bridge building? So that's every time. One guy goes, I think we should build the bridge. The other guy says, I don't care for the bridge. So
it's all bridge-based
we
politics.
they never gave us no red phone. You're president. I thought you were political.
No, I didn't realize you had a red phone.
You don't realize
here's the part
the
of America
president has a red phone?
But here's what it's come to be for in America.
And you're the most trusted man in
I'm
America?
not trusted. It seems like now, no matter who we vote for, no matter which guy we get, we still blow it out of the world. So, at a certain point, maybe we just like blowing stuff up.
Americans? Well, listen, if I was president, man, I'd get on that red phone right away and blow something up. But
what would you blow up first?
What would I blow up?
Yeah.
That stupid high school I went to for...
Empty building, of course.
But listen, man, I'll tell you this, though. With the streets of Libya running with blood...
Okay, I'll buy your premise.
Yeah. Listen, the Egyptians are so brave, and the guys in Tripoli trying to take over, and Bahrain. Here's what I'm trying to get at. I'm from Canada. We got a queen. She lives in England, right? We're so we can't get. Seriously, I could get a bunch of buddies of mine. I swear to God, I could get 2 or 3 dozen buddies of mine. We could go over to Buckingham Palace takeover.
I would totally.
Brann i Odda for 3 år siden. 5 personer brann inne.
Det er han.
Norske amerikanere i Norge på leiting etter slektninger.
Og han har vært ute i skogen hele denne tiden. Eric, my name is Christina Aas. I'm a psychologist.
Hei, du! Hva gjør dere kveld?
A lot of people are wondering what happened last night with you and the boy.
If you touch me, you will burn. Eric, your embassy has sent some people to take you back to America.
covered, 3 dead bodies.
Christine!
Just get in the car.
He cannot reach a city. You do agree with me, right?
You've seen what he's done here.
I saw it with my own eyes.
You're lucky to be alive.
Sometimes I just get these visions. I see things. Well, like they're a different world, right? I can walk around. I can touch things. I can feel things. I feel the wind. I feel the heat.
I'm not saying he's a bad person. I don't care what he is. We need to get him under control.
Get out of there as quickly as you can. I think something happened that nobody quite understands yet.
He's holding a hammer. The object is a hammer. I can see something in his hand. Ignition to fire. We have civilians coming up to the site. What's the order? Are we firing? Ma'am?
Fire.
Female casualty.
I killed them. And I killed them too.
I don't understand how you could have. That's impossible. How do you get out?
I don't know.
This doesn't prove it.
Do you believe me now?
What are you doing? Ellie, stop this. Stop it now.
I can't.
It's your emotions.
Brann i Odda for 3 år siden. 5 personer brann inne.
Det er han.
Norske amerikanere i Norge på leting etter slektninger.
Og han har vært ute i skogen hele denne tiden. Eric, my name is Christine Aas. I'm a psychologist.
Hei, du! Hva gjør dere i kveld?
A lot of people are wondering what happened last night with you and the boy.
If you touch me, you will burn.
Eric, your embassy has sent some people to take you back to America.
And uncovered 3 dead bodies.
Christine!
Let's get in the car.
He cannot reach a city. You do agree with me, right?
You've seen what he's done here.
I saw it with my own eyes.
You're lucky to be alive.
Sometimes I just get these visions. I see things, well, like they're different worlds, right? I can walk around, I can touch things, I can feel things. I feel the wind, I feel the heat.
I'm not saying he's a bad person. I don't care what he is. We need to get him under control.
Get out of there as quickly as you can. I think something happened that nobody quite understands yet.
What's your name? Camilla. What do you do, Camilla? Suppose it depends on the guy. That's your mum? Well, you don't even look like, you look as if you could be sisters. You don't look young, she looks fucking old.
What's your name?
Rayag.
What?
Rayag.
Bayar. That sounds like before ugly. I am pre-ug right now. 10 more years, full ug.
She's very pretty. Would you stand up, my darling? Very pretty. Take your time. I'll try to hold the audience. Are you married? Want to go to a party? No. No, I'm happily married. And how many years you married?
8.
That's wonderful. I'm married 7. But I'm a little fed up. What's your name, dear? Judy Doll. Oh, how are your brothers? The Dalton gang. Get it, dumbbell? You don't see that anymore. Chicken fat on the hair with a part.
How you doing, buddy? Good. You chose to look like a sperm tonight. I see that was your choice you made. How did you get here?
Oh, nice. Red with just the G. You're a big fella. Stand up again, Red. Why, what'd you do? My goodness. What'd you throw in a bucket of paint? Why'd you put a number on your back and get in the roller derby? You're a good-looking guy, Red. You look like Richard Harris, the actor. You ever been told that? No. Well, you don't then.
What is this, high school? This nigga probably got a babysitter or something. Go on and answer your phone, nigga. Just get that shit out of here. I'm in the middle of something important. Wouldn't it be fun if we made fun of him? He's like, and he went outside like, hello? Mama's dead. Oh, no! Mama's dead.
You're black, right? Or are you like a sneaky Indian or some shit like that? Are you fucking Indian? I knew he was Indian. God damn it. Okay, we got a real black over there. Dude. Another Indian? You fake black Indians. What the fuck? What the hell is going on out here? Where are all the black people? I know it's Juneteenth, but they can still come to the comedy show. You don't have to sit in the back anymore, black people. I mean, Juneteenth. Come right up front if you'd like. You guys know what Juneteenth is? It's a federal holiday, okay? We're celebrating the end of slavery, and there it is. There it is. Bravo. Bravo. This is the first year, so they didn't attach a sale to it yet, but, you know. We're American, you know what I mean? Within 5 years, there will be Juneteenth sales, guaranteed. Every store, 3/5 off every item. Except the cotton swaps. You pay an extra for the cotton swap. Laugh and enjoy, people. That's the main thing. I swear to God. Is that your wife, sir? Jesus Christ. I'll tell you this. That's the... No, I'm kidding. She's a pretty lady. What was it, a train? I'll tell you this. It's fantastic. I laugh about people. Look at the people in the balcony sitting there spitting down on the other people.
I always get lingers in my restaurant. It's a real problem, you know. There are almost always these ladies at brunch, you know, just sitting there, and we're cleaning up and trying to give them hints and everything, but just sit there. Everyone else is leaving and about to close, and everyone's obviously, you know, trying to get out of there. The kitchen's all done. Everyone else is cashing out, and I'm just stuck there waiting for these two bitches to stand up. I'm pretty sure it's because their pussies get stuck to the seat by a suction, like plungers. Ah. Needs work.
That running monologue in my head of I hate myself and blah, 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 blah. And what that really was I didn't hate myself. I was just upset with the choices I was making because I was in a point in my life when I was doing what other people wanted me to do because that's what I learned growing up with. Like, you know, I grew up in a very angry, tough, rageful sort of place. So I learned, hey, do what you got to do to keep the other person happy. So maybe I can get through the next 15 minutes of my life. Becomes like this mindset, and you start making choices by what other people want rather than what you want. And then what that ends up creating is this monologue. I fucking hate myself. I hate myself. And I started thinking, like, why do I say that? And it took me forever to finally realize, oh, I don't like myself. because I didn't want to do the X, Y, and Z, and then I started just doing what I wanted to do and telling people that, and then going through the hurt of them then being mad or not having a friendship anymore, and then just sitting back being like, oh wow, so our friendship existed on the level of, as long as I did what you wanted me to do. What a waste of fucking time, other than the lesson I just learned. Our friendship was, because that's not a friendship. But when you're like that, it's weird. You attract those people into your lives. Like I always tell you know, some friends of mine that are really nice. I tell them, I go, be careful with your niceness. Like, make people earn it. Because if you're just nice, you're going to attract psychos. Because nice people are the only ones that are going to put up with their behavior. And that's why so many times you're going to see that in like a couple. We just see a totally toxic fucking person, and the other person is just a total mouse, male or female, and you're just looking at it like, you are not getting anything you want, and this person's getting everything they want, and they're still treating you like shit. And it's just like, you look at that toxic person, it's just like, Jesus Christ, if you were with any sort of person that knew what they wanted, you'd be divorced like 9 times. And instead, now you're in the middle of this 40-year relationship, and everybody's sitting there, wow, how do you do it? How do you, like, they have this magic recipes. I mean, I'm not saying that all relationships like that go that long are like that, but I'm just saying that you can actually, on paper, you've been together for 40 years, looks like, wow, this is this amazing relationship, and it's just like, no, it's completely dysfunctional. Yeah. But the one person is getting everything they want, and the other person doesn't have the faculty to leave. So you're still together. But on paper, ladies and gentlemen, they've been married 45 years. How about it? Get me out of here. I'm a hostage. Yeah.
I see the corollary between sensitivity and intelligence when you talk about your early life, mate. It must have been hard for you in the environments that you're describing to have that kind of sense. I see the connection between sensitivity and intelligence. Intelligence being the ability to spot patterns, which is so important in comedy, to be able to make those kind of observations, to spot a pattern and then to make an observation about it. It's very interesting that the kind of crucible that your childhood has provided for you, I suppose, because you must have had to have incubated that kind of sensitivity and built strategies that are somewhat abrasive and brusque, and being able to cope in kind of harsh environments. And it's lovely because it's given you very beautiful inflection in your comedy. Your comedy has that sort of rasping, attacking, exasperated, often rageful kind of timbre, but evidently it's coming from a place of beauty and compassion and sensitivity, because anybody can get on stage and rant and and demonstrate anger, but it sounds hollow, and if there's not an intelligence behind it, if there's not a sensitivity, it's very interesting how that's been cultivated in you. Like in an art like stand-up comedy, it's impossible to extricate the personal, in a good stand-up comedian, impossible to extricate the biography from the performance. It ain't even like something like music where it is immediately more abstract or painting or whatever. In comedy, it's like it's got to be revelatory. It's got to be about coming from there, even if it don't literally seem like it. Seems to me like great. Like now the tendency for comics to speak more personally and more literally about biography is sort of, I don't know, I guess accepted. But even in people like, I guess, Seinfeld or George Carlin, where it's more commentary or observational, there is biography in them, isn't there? Like there's still a revelation of that true authentic self that you've talked about.
Yeah, I think if you just watch somebody at face value, you're not going to see what you're talking about. But if you actually like sort of collectively listen to the whole thing. Like I always thought it was like, I've said this a million times. I even told Jerry Seinfeld, I said this, I think we did Comedians in Cars, was when his show was on the air, like everybody loved it, but they used to always say, it's a show about nothing. His act is about nothing. And it's like, no, it isn't. You're not listening to him. This guy has contempt for 90% of activities. Like he has no patience for people that are idiots. It's a really streamlined, hard-lined way that he believes you should live your life. And it's not a joke. It's like, I mean, he gave me one of the greatest pieces of advice ever, where I was working with him at a festival, and I saw him. It's just like, he's just like not aging. I'm like, Jesus, Jerry, you look great. I go, what are you doing? He goes, I do my shows and I just go back to the room. I go, what do you mean? He goes, do your show, go back to the room. He goes, there's nothing out there. You're not missing anything. All that's out there is trouble. I go, there's nothing out there. He goes, look, you want to look like me? When you're 63, go back to the room. And I knew he was right, but I'm a stubborn bastard, so it still took me like another 18 months. And now I see the genius of going back to the room. Remember when I first started going back to the room, the elevator ride up to the room, I hated. I was like, oh, I want to get a drink. I'm missing out. I want to hang out. I want to joke. I want to do all of this stuff. But then as I was walking down the hall, getting to the hotel room, like the thought of the bed, getting 8 hours sleep, watching a cool doc on Netflix, all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, this is great. I'm not going to eat bad in the end and order room service because I'm hammered and I need something to fill up, all the alcohol that's swishing around in my stomach. And then all of a sudden I'm up at like 8:39 the next day. I'm going to the hotel gym, and like this whole other life on the road. It's like, oh wait, it can actually be like restful and relaxing. And then at the end of the day, I can get to do my dream, which is to go on stage and make people laugh. This is amazing. So I've been doing that since 2018. I just stopped boozing. I still, hit the cigars pretty hard for like another year, but then I've sort of tapered off those things. Smoking like 10 since mid-January. It's not too bad, but
that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the whole kid thing, I could just think that. It's just like you're hastening your demise, and you have these little people that, through their innocence, think you actually know things. So you have to be, you got to be around for them.
Yeah, plus for another 15 years, like I've got children about the same age as yours, and congratulations on your new boy. I've got like 2 kids, they're 3 and 2 years old, and like I feel, and I'd like more kids, I love it. I want to have so many that no individual one of them has got the power to dominate my emotional life. By the end, I'll just number them, so that I won't, because at the moment they got me. I'd do anything. I sometimes cry, like looking at them. They pull love out of my heart. They destroyed me. I'm no longer an individual. I waited till late in life. I didn't get, married again. I got married once in my 30s, but I didn't get married to this marriage was I was 41. I'm 45 now. I've got these young kids, and it's a different space. It's a different space for me now.
I always thought if you had a bunch of kids, it's just when they're under 10 and they still idolize you, it's like, would you even need to do stand-up anymore other than to like pay for all of their lives and stuff? But you came home, it's like you had this crowd of people that's going to love you more than any crowd. It's like you come home to like your own talk show. Yeah. They come into theme music and all the kids go crazy. I don't know. I have a weird thing where I'm a big proponent of like, I always think it's cool if somebody has a bunch of kids, but then there's also the population problem. So I don't know.
Oh man, I can't deal with that. I can't go listen, I'm as principled as they come when it comes to saying stuff, but when it comes to my actual life, I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm creating that sitcom cast at home, that audience, that coterie. I feel you, mate. I feel you. Have you been, what about meditation? Have you got into meditation?
I was doing really well with it like 20 years ago. And I could get to that point where when I was just watching my breath, like just imagining my stomach going up and down, I could get to that mental state where all of a sudden my feet felt like they were 100 feet away. And I was floating. And it was amazing. Yeah, so I could get there, and then what happened was my brain, I got cocky going like, oh, I know how to do this. So then I would start to feel that feeling. Then my inner monologue would go, oh, here it comes. I'm going to feel like I'm start floating again. And then it would go away. And then meditation became this really frustrating thing. So unfortunately, I stopped. And then I was going to get into that, I almost said tantric, that transit, whatever. But then I just got so frustrated. They just wouldn't tell you how to do it. Somebody somehow owns it. And then you got to pay them to get my chant word. And I was like, fuck these guys.
So, don't get angry about the chant word.
I know. And it is, and I know it would help me. So
I know there are people at the David Lynch Foundation, and I don't think they're going to charge you. I think they come and they teach you and your missus, and God knows she must need it to meditate as a couple. They give you the chant word or mantra, as is elsewise known sometimes. Right. I reckon you should get back into it. I know that moment, though. I know that moment of thinking, hold on a minute. It's coming. I'm transcending. I'm the new Jesus. I'm definitely going to bring about, oh, shit, fuck, back in my ego.
Yes. Yeah, or whatever that is. Oh, it's nice to know that somebody else has that. So I can, well, how I used to do it was I used to listen to the second side of that Jane's Addiction album, the Ritual album, that would start off with 3 days. And it was sort of like intense. That 3 days is a really intense song. But then the way that it's a masterpiece of an album, the whole crescendo of that album. So I would sort of pick it up. I felt like the apex of the album, which was sort of like my day. I got to do this, and that's sort of where my mind was. And I would just sort of be listening to the music and just concentrating on my breath, and the music would sort of fade in the background. And then I think it was Then She Did, and then I forget the next one, but it was really like this amazing sort of like music. And then in the end, they actually, Perry Farrell says goodnight at the end of the album. So it was this perfect sort of I'm gonna say airplane, perfect landing. And by then I would just be in like this meditative state, and I would drift off into sleep. And that was sort of my, the way that I did it, as opposed to having like a mantra, however you say that word. And then I don't know. And then I kind of got away from that. Tried to do it in a chair. I remember I used to try to do it in a chair. My older brother knew that I was doing it. He would come in and start yelling. Just go, hey, ah! And I would just sit there having to try and block him out. And that was the weirdest thing, coming out of that floating feeling and then getting immediately into a fist fight. It was just bizarre. It was bizarre. But I mean, that's kind of the dynamic you sort of had to do. I mean, if that doesn't say Massachusetts, I got into a fight while meditating.
I feel like there's a devotional aspect to all of us, that all of us are trying to find some essential and authentic self. That when you earlier on talked about having to curtail or not, at least not express your actual sensitivity, relationships that you felt required you to be someone that you weren't at your deepest essence, and how that led in turn to a kind of self-loathing. I feel like that in the way that, talking about how Seinfeld's very natural devotion to stand-up comedy, and and the sort of monasticism of it, going straight to bed, not messing around. And I heard, did you hear on that documentary about the making of that sitcom? He said that the reason that the show was so good is that him and Larry, all they cared about was writing the show. They didn't give a fuck about egos. They didn't care about anything else. He goes, you've been on a film set. Half the time is spent with people someone's worried about having sex, someone's worried about ego, someone's worried about money, and they never did that. And I feel like that as I said to you before, that your sensitivity plus the force of your invective is part of your, it seems to me as an outsider and as a fan, like part of your essential quality, and that's sort of an expression of who you authentically actually are. And I feel that all of us have to find that, whether we're creative people or whether we ain't, to occupy our family lives, to occupy our professional lives. And I feel that if we don't find that, if we don't find some point of access, we live in various forms of frustration,
The turning point for me was I had to realize that I was hurting people, and then I had to figure out how I was hurting people. Because there's a lot of stuff that I say in my past specials that I go back and I just look at that and I just go, you didn't believe that. This is like some of the shit that I said about women. That was me. I was the complete opposite. I was a romantic. I wanted to be married. I wanted a family, and I just through like just stuff that happened to me, failures and all of that. It's that weird thing where you're pushing away what you actually want for some, like whatever that defect in the human brain is. That's what I was doing. So, you know, and that goes back to people judging you as a comedian. It's just like, you know, it's very easy to watch that at face value and be like, oh, this guy misogynistic, hates women, frat boy, blah 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 blah. But it actually takes an effort to try and look. You know, I mean, that's how I'm watching some of this Trump shit where you're just seeing like he'll say something and you like, in order to keep my sanity, I got to picture the kid that didn't get the hug, the kid that was driven into business because his dad was good at it. And it's just like, did he want to do something else? Is his whole life an outer body experience? Or is he really this way? And dude, it's like messing with my whole. I had this big discussion with my wife last night talking about the irresponsibility of religion with a higher power, where they go like, oh, people have freedom of choice. So it's just like, so when a serial killer is born, that's not on God at all. Like, whoa, lean a little too far this way on it. Like, that's not on him at all. He gets to walk away from all of that. And if you watch like all of these nature videos and just how the whole thing is set up, that, you know, the big eat the little, and how there's certain animals that their only way of survival, like rabbits, no fucking defense whatsoever. Their only defense that they get is that they can fuck so much and have so many of them that you can't wipe them out. But the second you're a rabbit, you know, I'm going to get killed by a snake, eaten by a coyote, ripped apart by wild dogs. That is their fucking existence, and they don't hurt anybody.
Their sex must be so frantic and anxious and fueled by, I'm finished, the snake's going to come any moment.
I know,
I've got to
looking over
ejaculate.
your shoulder as you bang.
There's some people that like that kind of thing.
And it's just like, and in those behaviors, I see human behavior and what the hell we do to each other. And, you know, if you watch this stuff on some serial killers, you hear about their childhood. And then there's a point where you want to rescue them before they become the adult monster. And and then I just sit there and go like, so this dude was beaten every day, he was molested, he was locked in a closet and all that. As a child, you go and rescue him. Then he goes out in the world and does what he does, what his parents taught him. And then they sort of divorce his childhood and then just go, this person is you're just supposed to be, that person's a monster, evil incarnate, he chose to be evil and blah, 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 blah. And then there's also that weird dichotomy where it's like, well, now you're an adult and you know what being hurt is. You shouldn't be doing that, so you got to hold them responsible. Like, I can't even like wrap my head around like that type of stuff. Did my audio just drop out on this thing?
No, you're here. I'm listening.
I got it.
There's an very brilliant English comedian called Simon Munnery who had a very good joke on that. He said like 90% of people that are sexually assaulted as a child will grow up to become sexual offenders. The solution is obvious: incarcerate the victims. And I feel though that when sort of coming down with that to the serial killer thing, the fact that we find it abhorrent is evidence of a kind of that there is a certainty to morality. In a universe where there is no, I'm not saying God, but no conceptualization of good, why not be a serial killer? I'm not saying morality is impossible without God. I'm saying that our awareness of goodness suggests that we have some intuitive understanding of goodness. In the natural world, I think it becomes different when you regard them as interconnected ecosystems rather than individuals. And that's something that comes up in what you said about the biography of a serial killer. How is the individual even responsible at all? If that individual is the recipient of all this negativity, then they go on. It's almost like It's only the fact that we see ourselves as enshrined by a bag of skin rather than as interconnected beings that makes culpability possible at all. I'm not saying people aren't responsible for their negative actions or for their crimes or there should be consequences for bad actions. I'm saying in looking for a solution, it's pretty evident that if you grow up in a community or environment that has lots of negativity in it, you are likely to go out and enact that negativity elsewhere. So, like, in order to look for a solution, I think whether that's on an individual or a cultural level, that we have to, I feel personally, drop below my own. When you said that thing before about all of the hatred and the anger and the rage, I feel, and like suicide, in fact, you know, I feel like we have to learn to drop below what we can, as we do in meditation, drop below the thing that you consider to be the self, this matrix of thoughts and ideas, which isn't really the self at all, according to a lot of meditative philosophy, but rather a kind of neurological static that's just taking place. And if you can learn to observe it and let it pass, you don't have to engage in the kind of actions of it. So, like, I don't think of a serial killer as a
life work, because I engage in the static.
Well, yeah,
and the audio did drop out, but I got 50 minutes of this stuff, so we can just use the audio for this right here off the computer, if that's all right.
Yeah, because I was just unraveling the idea. You was trying to say there is no God. I was trying to say there is a God. We were at an important junction.
He has to be he or she, it, they, whatever, has to be responsible for creating, the flawed human being. Yeah. Here's my deal. My deal is 35. Okay? By the time you're 35 years of age, you have to be looking at yourself as a flawed person, and you need to start trying, to undo what it is that you're doing. So my deal with the serial killer is, I'll give you all those people you killed up till 35. You got to be sitting there going, wait a minute, I'm repeating what has been happening to me or whatever. Obviously, serial killer is an extreme example. Or maybe I'm superimposing. Maybe 35 is too old. It's just because 35 is where I started to get it. That, like, things you're saying, things that you're doing, the way you're behaving is not good, and you're hurting people. You need to work on this, and you're recreating what you hated in your childhood, what you didn't want. This angry environment. It took me till I was like 30 to even realize I was angry. That's how, like, not in touch with whatever the hell I was doing was rolling around in my head or whatever. So
that's what, yeah, of course.
I should pay you for a therapy session on this one.
No way. It's amazing to talk to you. Although I was just about to. I'm a person who digs like Jungian therapy and all that stuff around mythology, and I was thinking about, like, now that you are free from the tyranny of poverty, and from the tyranny of being people that you are not, the hobbies that you found are like drumming, like with all of its percussion and rhythm and the basic sort of rhythms of life, and flying helicopters and the transcendent and the escape. I can see the appetites that are in you that are reaching out into expression. It's brilliant in your art form. Hey mate, are you doing this for some promotion? Do you need to promote either the Judd Apatow film or Epic for Family?
I did a movie with Judd Apatow. I've seen it. Yeah, King of Staten Island. So it's going to be available for digital download. And, old school people, if you want to get it on Blu-ray, you can literally have a physical copy of it. It has all this deleted scenes. There was a ton of improv that happened on that set, especially with a lot of the actors that I worked with that played the firemen.
Was there? So were some of them real firemen? And what's it like doing stuff? I watched it. I really loved it. I loved your performance in it. I love Steve Buscemi. That must have been good working with him, was it?
Oh, yeah. He was the best. And he also was a firefighter for a number of years before he became an actor. So
morning. I am so glad to be here this morning. And this is Unity of Fort Worth's morning meditation. I am Denise, and I am glad to be here this morning because, and today is our last morning meditation for Thursdays. I won't be doing our meditations anymore. I think we're going to stop for a while, except for Joe Waller. He will be doing still Wednesdays. So if you want to continue joining with Wednesdays, that would be awesome. But we are going to always have these Unity Fort Worth morning meditations available. We've got quite a huge amount of recordings that we are going to have on the website at some point. So if you are, good morning, Jackie, and thank you for having been here over the year and a half or so much. We are discontinuing our meditations, and I just wanted to say thank you for being here. You and Terry have been here over and over and over again. So, blessing
Why
to
do you always wait
and
until
for
I'm
your
meditating?
continuous being a part of it.
You
And Carol, oh
fucking
my gosh, Carol, you've been here
attention-seeking
too. So
asshole.
thank you for
What do
being
you want?
here, and we will. So I wanted to finish with. Sometimes I have done the 61 points, and this time I wanted to give you 31 points. So it's
my attention
it's a
whenever I
choice,
was
so when
just
you
sitting
look on the
around.
website, you can have lots of different choices
What do you
as
want?
far as the different kinds of meditations. So that's what we will be doing today is 31 points. So I am going to turn off my light and light our inner candle of light.
Poopy butt.
And begin to just settle us in to this next couple of moments. To breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Letting the body settle into its place in the chair. Feeling that heaviness. Relaxing through the shoulders, the face, the legs, and the feet. Then bring the attention to the point between the eyebrows. Then down to the hollow of the throat. The tip of the right shoulder. Center of the right elbow. Center of the right wrist. The tips of the right thumb, forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, small finger. Center of the right wrist, center of the right elbow, the tip of the right shoulder, the hollow of the throat, tips of the left shoulder, center of the left elbow, center of the left wrist, tips of the left thumb, forefinger, middle finger, ring finger, small finger, center of the left wrist, center of the left elbow, tip of the left shoulder, hollow of the throat, center of the sternum, tip of the right breast, center of the sternum, tip of the left breast, center of the sternum, hollow of the throat, and point between the two eyebrows. And then just sitting in this beautiful silence. And so it is. Hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Enjoy.
totally do that with you.
It's an old bag in a castle.
You know what is the most difficult part of that? Finding which room she's in. Do you have any idea? If you go attack her, there's like 130 rooms. We'd probably lose interest.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, but you know, Gaddafi is surrounded by what is he surrounded by?
Bahrain.
I'm
guessing he's surrounded by like dancing girls. He's f***ing crazy.
Yeah.
He's a nutbag.
No, he likes the ladies. That's what I heard.
Did you know he has a Ukrainian nurse who apparently
follows her everywhere. Yeah, pretends he's a nurse, but I've heard that maybe there's a little hanky-panky going on. Listen, I don't want to badmouth Gaddafi. I want to talk about Watson the computer.
Oh, let's talk about that. I'm happy to talk about that.
You know that character?
I love that guy. He was on Jeopardy. He crushed.
He was on Jeopardy, and he crushed. You guys know Watson the computer?
Sure. Terrific.
Yeah. So, I watched it. It was cool. And the funny thing was, like, they were like, I wonder if, who's going to win? Watson the computer? Or that guy that works down at the hat store? And, first of all, I don't think he should be called Watson, because wasn't Watson the guy that didn't know Sherlock Holmes?
The helper. It should be Sherlock.
Yeah, Watson was like, hey, what about this? And then he'd go, elementary, my idiot friend. So, he should have been called Sherlock. But anyways,
No, it was a good design.
So, so Watson, naturally, he's a computer.
Crushed him.
You know, this whole live stream is a self-indulgent shit show. But that's fine by me. I am going to read a story. We've got 30 minutes, so it's going to have to be a short one. This is Jim Butcher, Brief Cases. This series about a wizard private investigator in Chicago is my most reread series of all time, for whatever that's worth. Praise for Jim Butcher and the #1 New York Times best-selling Dresden Files. What would you get if you crossed Spencer with Merlin? Probably you would come up with someone very like Harry Dresden. You want one of those? You probably want more than one. Yep. How can you not see that? That baffles me. I mean, it's okay. I just never would have guessed. Harry Dresden is perhaps the best written supernatural detective working today. SF Review. Oh, the earlier one was the Washington Times. Superlative. Publishers Weekly. Weekly. The Dresden Files is still one of the most consistently well-written urban fantasy series in existence. Love vampires. An edge-of-your-seat thriller. Locus. Butcher... spins an excellent noirish detective yarn in a well-crafted, supernaturally charged setting. Dynamic. Oh, sorry, that was book list. Starred review. Dynamic and complex and utterly fascinating. Huntress book reviews. A great series. One of the most enjoyable marriages of the fantasy and mystery genres on the shelves. Cinescape. This stunning, exciting series entry, with its heart-stopping action, will shock and thrill Butcher fans. I like the title of this one. Let's go with Day One. This is Briefcases. This is the second of the two compilations of short stories that Jim's written. So this is going to be well into the series, and there are spoilers ahead. So, for whoever's watching, continue at your own risk. Day One. Waldo Butters was never supposed to amount to much. No, seriously, he was a throwaway character. I had a particularly gruesome morgue scene that I wanted to leaven with a little humor. So I more or less swiped the medical examiner from the movie The Prophecy, dyed his hair black and curly, and made him a Jewish polkaphile. Then had him start spreading levity. A while later, I was writing a story that was going to have a pretty good dramatic high point, and was going to be filled with necromancers. I wanted it to be a particularly tough ride for Dresden, so I looked around for the perfect sidekick for this story. Someone who would be thematically appropriate, yet be able to do almost nothing to actually help Dresden in a fight. I had necromancers and animated corpses, and I had this goofy but highly intelligent medical examiner who had already been planted into the series. As a bonus, Waldo Butters was a newbie to the world of the supernatural, but was bright and could be counted on to ask smart questions. And since this book was going to be my first hardback, it was also going to be the Dresden Files introduction to a slew of new readers. And Butters' questions would make it easy for them to get into the structure of the story world. Kind of made it a no-brainer that Butters would be the guy. But, my brain said, as it does endlessly, that's not quite enough, is it? And so I looked at Butters and started making plans. At the end of the day, the greatest power Harry has is in lifting up the people around him. As he has gone through this story, the people he trusts and has befriended have themselves grown in knowledge and in power. He's never really meant to do this, but this little community of people with brains, backbones, and good hearts has developed around him. Incidentally, that's also the greatest power of the protagonist of my favorite Star Wars story, Knights of the Old Republic 2. So I guess it makes sense that I'm drawn to these stories. Similar theme. Anyway. And Butters is one of the foremost members of that community. The little guy has grown a lot over the course of this story. He was entirely unexpected, and I just couldn't be more pleased with how his story is going. Here's a small but important piece of Butters' tale. Butters' tale. His first day on the job as a knight. My name is Waldo Butters, and I am a Jedi Knight, like my father before me. Okay, so that isn't exactly technically in the complete legal sense true. I mean, my dad was actually a podiatrist. But I'm as close to the real deal as anyone is likely to ever see in this world. I'm an actual knight anyway, or at least I was training to be one, when on a Thursday morning I first heard the call. Only I didn't hear it exactly, technically in a completely legal sense. Look, maybe I should just tell the story. Of all the training Michael Carpenter had me doing, the cardio part was what I liked best. And then again, my main Pandora station plays only polka music, so what the heck do I know? I ran along through the early dawn light in Bucktown while the city began to wake up. The training belt around my waist tugged at my balance constantly and unpredictably. It was hooked to a bungee cord attaching me to Michael's bicycle, being pulled along behind me as I ran. Michael would swerve and brake randomly. Sometimes he'd hold the brake for several strides, and I'd have to shift to much more powerful strides to keep moving. It was demanding work. Constantly being forced to alter my balance meant that I could never fall into a nice, efficient rhythm, and I had to pay attention to every single step. The first several weeks, that had been a problem, but I was getting used to it now, or rather, I was getting used to it until I saw something impossible. Forgot to pay attention, got pulled off balance by my bungee cord, and crashed into a plastic recycling bin waiting by the side of the street. Michael immediately came to a stop. Oh, hold on. Oh, shoot. Come on. There you go. All right. Michael immediately came to a stop, swinging his stiff leg out like an improvised kickstand. He was action hero sized, moving towards his late 50s, and had his walking cane strapped to the backpack he wore. Waldo? He asked. Are you all right? Sorry. Waldo? What's a good Michael? Waldo? Are you all right? No, that's terrible. Waldo? Are you all right? It's still terrible. I stumbled upright again, panting. I peered down the street. I'm not really sure. Michael looked in the same direction I was, frowning. He pursed his lips thoughtfully. You don't see that, do you? I asked. See what? I squinted, took off my glasses, cleaned them on a corner of my shirt that wasn't covered in sweat, put them back on and checked again. It was still there. If you could see it, you wouldn't have to ask that. He nodded seriously. Tell me what you see. That homeless guy on the bench? I asked. Yes. I took a breath and said, there's a big yellow exclamation point floating over his head. After a brief pause, I added, I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested. Michael sat back on the bike seat and rubbed at his beard pensively. He missed the reference. Odd. Does that bring anything to mind to you personally? I snorted. Yeah. It's what every NPC in every MMORPG ever looks like when they have a quest to give you. There were a great many letters in that, and not much that I understood, he said soberly. Video games, I clarified. When a game character has a quest for you, that's how the game shows where the quest begins. 17 minutes. I'm not going to be able to finish this. That's okay. We'll just do as much as we can. A big floaty exclamation point over their heads. You go talk to them, and that's how the quest starts. Michael barked out a laugh and gave the sky a smile, and the shake of his head. Well then, Sir Waldo, you've just had your first call. My what now? Your first call to a quest, I suppose. I blinked. Uriel talks to the knights through video game symbolism? As far as I know, Uriel talks in person. The call comes from higher up. What? I asked. You mean like God? God speaks video game? When the Almighty speaks to men, he always does it in voices they can understand, Michael said. When I felt the call, it was always a still, small voice that would come to me when I was in prayer or otherwise quiet. Sometimes I'd have a very strong impression of a name or a face and a direction that I needed to go. He nodded towards the transient. Apparently, you have been called to help that man. Put like that, it does seem to be fairly obvious. I swallowed. I know we've been training pretty hard, but am I really ready for this? He reached into the backpack, withdrew an old leather messenger bag from it, and offered it to me. Let's find out. I swallowed. Then I nodded and slung the bag over one shoulder. Then walked over to the sleeping man. He wore an Army surplus field jacket and old Desert Storm style khaki BDUs. He had a beard that birds could have nested in. There wasn't much gray in it, but his skin was weathered enough to make it difficult to guess his age. 40? By the time I got within 5 feet of him, I could see that something was wrong. There was a lot of vomit on the slatted bench by the man's head and the ground beneath. One of his eyes was half open, dilated, and his breath rasped in and out. Hey, I said. Hey, buddy, can you hear me? No response. I knelt down and took his wrist, feeling for his pulse. It was hard because it had become thready and irregular. Hey, I said gently. Hey, man, can you hear me? He let out a little groan. I checked his other eye. The pupil was normal in that one. I didn't enjoy the work of being an actual physician professionally. I liked examining corpses for the state of Illinois. Corpses never lie to you, never give you opaque answers, never ask stupid questions or ignore what you tell them when you tell them what they need to do. Corpses are simple. And this guy wasn't nearly as old as I had thought when I walked up to him. Was going to be one if he didn't get attention fast. Call 911, I said to Michael. I think he's had a stroke. Maybe an overdose. Either way, he's lucky he slept on his side or he'd have choked on his own vomit by now. He needs an ER. Michael nodded once, hobbled a few feet away, and produced a cell phone from a leather case on his belt. He called and began speaking quietly. Okay, buddy, I said to the guy. Hang in there. We're calling the good guys, and they're going to help you. I didn't even know what happened. 1 second he was lying there, a wheezy vegetable, and the next he was coming at me hard, his ragged nailed hands grasping for my throat while he gurgled. No hospital! A few months ago, I'd have gotten strangled right there. But a few months ago, I hadn't been training hand to hand with Michael's wife, Charity. It takes several thousand repetitions of emotion to develop motor memory pathways in the brain to the point where you can consider the emotion a reflex. To that end, Charity, who was into jujitsu, and maybe practiced several different defenses 100 times each every day for the past 2 months. She didn't practice just by going through emotions slowly and gradually speeding up either. She just came at me like she was meant to disassemble me. And if I didn't defend successfully, it freaking hurt. You learn fast in those circumstances. And one of the basic defenses she drilled into me had been against a simple front choke. Both of my forearms snapped up, knocking the grasping hands away, even as I ducked my head and rolled my body to one side. He kept coming through the space where I'd been. His arm hit my face and sent my glasses spinning off me. I fought down a decades-old panic as the world shifted from its usual shapes into sudden streaks of blurs of color. Look, I wear some big, thick glasses. I'm not quite legally blind without them. I know because after I gave my optometrist a very expensive bottle of whiskey, he told me so. But without them, it's pretty tough to get anything done or see anything more than an arm's length away. Seriously, I'd once mistaken a dressmaker's mannequin for my girlfriend. Reading was all but impossible without them. Reading. My great nightmare is to be stuck somewhere without them, trapped, peering at the sea of fuzzy things that couldn't possibly be identified. When I'd been a kid, the first thing the bullies did, always, was knock my glasses off. Always. It's like they all had a fifth sense or something. Then they could start having fun with me. That wasn't a delight either, but it was the not knowing what was coming that made it all worse. Inside, that kid started screaming and wailing, but there was no time to indulge him. I had a problem to solve, and the carpenters had given me the tools I needed to solve it. For instance, they taught me that once things are this close, you don't really get a lot done with your eyes when it comes to fighting. It was all speed and reflex and knowing where the enemy was and what he was doing by feel. I was sloppy, and it took me a second. But I managed to lock the bum's arm out straight. I kept it moving, got my body to twist it at the right angle to put pressure on the shoulder joint, and brought him flat to his face on the sidewalk with enough force to send stars flying into his vision and stun him. It didn't stun him much. "No hospital!" he screamed, thrashing. I fought to control the fear that was running through me. He was operating with more strength than he should have been, but it didn't matter. Physics is physics, and his arm was one long lever that I had control of. He might have been bigger and stronger than me, and the way we were positioned, that didn't matter in the least. He fought for a few more seconds and then the burst of frenzy began to peter out. "No hospital! No hospital!" He shuddered and began to weep. His voice became a plea, rendered flat with despair. "No hospital, please, please, no hospital." Then he went limp and began to make slow, regular rasping sounds. I eased off the pressure and gave him his arm back. It fell limply to the sidewalk as he cried. "Buddy," I said. Hey, it's going to be all right. I'm Waldo. What's your name?" "Stan," he said in a hollow voice. "Hey, Stan," I said. "Try not to worry. We're going to get you taken care of." "You're killing me," he said. "You're killing me." "Your pulse is erratic, your breathing is impaired, and your eyes are showing different levels of dilation, Stan. What are you on?" "Nothing," he said. "You're killing me, damn you." In a few minutes, the ambulance arrived. A few seconds later, someone tapped the side of my chest with my glasses, and I put them back on. I looked up at an EMT, a blocky black guy named Lamar. I knew him. He was a solid guy. "Thanks, man," I said. You tackle this guy? Yeah. Shoot, you ain't no bigger than a chicken dinner. But spicy, I said. I gave him everything I had about Stan. And they got him checked, loaded up, and ready to head out to the ER in under 4 minutes. Hey, Lamar, I said as he was rolling the gurney. Yes, Examiner Mulder? Scully was the ME, I complained. How come no one calls me Examiner Scully? 'Cause you ain't a thinking man's tart. Lamar, 'cause you ain't a thinking man's tart, Lamar drawled. What you need? Where are you taking him? St. Anthony's. I nodded. Is there anything odd happened over there lately? Nah, Lamar said, scratching his chin. Not that I seen, but it's only Tuesday. Do me a favor, I said. Keep your eyes open. Hell, Butters, he said. Let me rephrase that, I said. Let me know if you see anything odd. It might be important. Lamar gave me a long look. I already had a reputation and a history with supernatural weirdness, even before I met Harry Dresden and learned how scary the world really is. Lamar had gotten a few peeks at the Twilight Zone, too, over the years, and wanted nothing to do with it, because Lamar was pretty bright. We'll see, he said. Thanks, I said. We shook hands, and he left. Michael came to stand next to me as the ambulance pulled away. You hear that? I asked him. Most of it. What do you think? He leaned on his cane and blew a slow breath through his lips, frowning in thought. I think, he said finally, that you're the knight now, Waldo. Somehow, I just knew you were going to say that, I said. It might be nothing. I mean, I suspect Stan was strung out on uppers and downers and God knows what else. And if some commuter had been the one to try and wake him, he might have strangled them. Maybe this was a low-level warm-up quest, you know? That might have been the whole thing right there. Maybe, Michael agreed, nodding. What does your heart tell you? My heart? I asked. I'm a doctor, Michael. My heart doesn't tell me anything. It's a muscle that pumps blood. My brain does all that other stuff. Michael smiled. What does your heart tell you? I'm going to end it there. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.